Chapter 4509. Xia Jie's remarks also gave Duan Ling Tian a better understanding of Xiao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm. It turned out that the world lord Xiao was so terrifying. Now, in the anti-god realm, apart from his father the legendary Jiezun realm powerhouse, he is probably the strongest. Moreover, Xia Jie also said, according to what Xia Hechuan, the ancestor of the Xia family, said, the world masters of the god-defying realm, except for the world master Xiao, are all retreating to improve their strength. Because they are now more and more struggling to deal with the 10,000-year catastrophe. If the strength can't keep up, it won't take long before they will perish under the 10,000 years heavenly tribulation. Duan Ling Tian was there, shocked by the power of Xiao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm, and the amazing background. On this side, Xiao Mubai returned to his cultivation place. After seeing his middle-aged men, he rarely smiled, you know. I went out this time, who did I meet? Who did the Lord see? The middle-aged man asked curiously. If Duan Ling Tian is here and sees this middle-aged man, he will definitely recognize it at a glance. This one is the one who appeared on the plain battlefield back then and took him to the place where Shen Yunquan was located. At that time, he heard this, and called the other supreme power sir. And that supreme power is Xiao Mubai. Duan Ling Tian. Xiao Mubai returned to the pavilion, sat at the table, made a pot of tea, and drank leisurely. Duan Ling Tian? The middle-aged man was startled at first. Then his pupils shrank. Is the one who got Shen Yunquan last time? He is back. The middle-aged man frowned. Is he a little unreasonable? When he left, I thought he could handle it. Now what are you doing when you come back? Think he can wrestle with those old guys? The Shen Yunquan in his hand, those old guys all want it. The middle-aged man said later. His tone was obviously a little more worried. Although he didn't get along much with that Duan Ling Tian, but because he admired the other party, he naturally hoped that the other party could grow up well, and he didn't need to face the embarrassment of some greedy old guys. Okay. Xiao Mubai nodded. He's back. As for you saying he thinks he can wrestle with those old guys. Speaking of this, Xiao Mubai's eyes became a little weird. This time he came back, it's not just as simple as wrestling with those old guys. Those old guys really dare to shoot at him. Unless I and the retreating ones shoot, no one can save them. As soon as Xiao Mubai said these words, the middle-aged man's eyes widened in shock. Sir, what do you mean by this? Is it possible he has become a superpower? When the middle-aged man asked here, his eyes were filled with astonishment and disbelief. That little guy just become the strongest? No. Xiao Mubai shook his head, and then said again. Is it possible you didn't hear the news? Outside, a distinguished guest came to our anti-god realm. The middle-aged man pondered for a moment. His pupils shrank suddenly. Is it possible? That night half-sage from the Thunder Holy Land outside the world, the half-step Holy Land powerhouse, the person who follows her from the god-defying realm is Duan Ling Tian. That's right. Xiao Mubai nodded. It's Duan Ling Tian. He turned out to be willing to degenerate and become Midnight's favorite boy? The middle-aged man's face was filled with hatred. Xiao Mubai said angrily, what nonsense? Haven't you always been optimistic about him? Are you so unconfident in him? Or in your eyes, is he like this? My lord, do you know something? The middle-aged man's expression softened a bit and asked. The news he received was that someone in their anti-god realm had become the male pet of Midnight Yu Yi and returned from outside the realm with Midnight Yu Yi, and he didn't know what to do. The Midnight Saint Yu Yi recognized Duan Ling Tian as her younger brother. As for why she did this, she just wanted to invest in Duan Ling Tian in advance. Guess, what is the current strength of Duan Ling Tian? Xiao Mubai asked. Do not know. The middle-aged man shook his head, however. I can make that Banbu Jesuan condescend to recognize him as his younger brother. He must be a high-ranking god, and his strength should not be weak. Yu Yi Banxing seems to be good at the law of life. With her attainments in the law of life, she must have seen that Duan Ling Tian is young. The middle-aged man said. He is indeed already a high-ranking god. Xiao Mubai nodded and then said again. But it's not an ordinary high-ranking god. He, with his current strength, under the invincible superior god Venerable, no one should be able to defeat him. And this is what Yu Yi Banxing told me personally. Xiao Mubai said. What? And the middle-aged man was stunned when he heard Xiao Mubai's words. Unexpectedly, the little guy back then, in a blink of an eye, actually stood at the pinnacle of the upper gods. Under the invincible superior god, no one can defeat him? Isn't it possible to step into the realm of the invincible upper at any time and become the invincible upper god? Thinking of this, the middle-aged man's breathing became rapid in an instant. Sir, he may become the fourth person in the history of our anti-god realm after you, your father, and senior sword of time. The invincible superior to achieve the strongest. Yes. In the history of the anti-god realm, there have actually been quite a few invincible high-ranking gods, not dozens but a dozen. However, only Xiao Mubai's father, and the Sword of Time can become the strongest. As for Duanling Tian, from the point of view of a middle-aged man, Duanling Tian is still so young, and he has become like this. Once he becomes an invincible high-ranking god, he will have enough time to hit the realm of the strongest. Maybe. Xiao Mubai smiled slightly. I didn't expect that among the people I was most optimistic about, in a blink of an eye, he turned out to be at the forefront. It's more than his senior sister Huangfu Mengyuan. Huangfu Mengyuan, Duanling Shen's eldest sister in Wanfa Academy's inner palace, the eldest sister that Duanling Tian has not seen so far, is the best among the young people Xiao Mubai had been most optimistic about. My lord, at that time the successor of the lightsaber, Duanling Shen's master, Feng Qingyang, also went to the outside world. His swordsmanship is definitely the strongest under the time sword in the history of our god-defying realm. If he does not die, it should also be expected to become an invincible upper god, right? The swordsmanship of the 7th rank and above. Even if the time law he is good at is only the realm of small perfection, after stepping into the realm of the upper gods, his strength can be comparable to that of the invincible upper gods. He and Duanling Tian, really a terrifying pair of master and apprentice. The wind is light. After Duanling Tian left the anti-god realm that year, he did not stay in the anti-god realm for a long time, so he left the anti-god realm and went to a place outside the realm through the relationship with the Wanfa Academy. Certainly. Now, Duanling Tian doesn't know this yet. At this moment, Duanling Tian left with Duan Yue after staying in the Xia family for a day and a night. He is in Thunder Holy Land, and he has something to do. This time, he was in a hurry, and he had Duan Yue by his side, so he couldn't bear the urge to see his family in the mundane plains. When I come back next time, I'll see my parents and the others. And Fantasia. Before the law clone I left behind collapsed, her strength had already stepped into the realm of the Emperor. Judging from her entry, these years have passed. Should she be a now? When he left, Duanling Shen's thoughts also flew out far away. Chapter 45:10. After leaving the land of God's relic and the anti-god realm, Duan Yue took Duanling Tian all the way to the teleportation formation in the anti-god realm. According to Duan Yue's words, it is still necessary to go back to the teleportation formation of the anti-god realm that he arrived earlier, and only that teleportation formation can accurately teleport to the Thunder Saint realm. Other teleportation arrays, although possible, have certain uncertainties. The upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms in myriad realms basically have only one precise teleportation array, because the accuracy of the teleportation array is related to the strength of the realm's power. As for other realms, such as the teleportation formation that Duanling Tian had visited before, the reincarnation realm of the anti-god realm, which went to places beyond the realm, was not accurate. Don't say that you don't lock the destination to teleport. Even if you lock the destination to shuttle, it is very likely to be teleported to other places. Duanling Tian was deeply touched by this. At the beginning, when he went to the outside world through the teleportation array on the other side of the reincarnation world, he was directly teleported to the edge area of the outside world, the Tiansha realm. Moreover, it is still within the sea area near Tiansha realm. Thinking of the hardships along the way at that time, Duanling Tian still has lingering fears. Red Devil. In the future, when I become a superpower, I will have to go to the Tiansha realm again and talk to the Red Devil of the Red Devil Ridge. In Duanling Shen's eyes, a cold light flashed. At the beginning, he almost fell into the hands of the supreme power Red Devil. So many high-ranking gods? When Duan Yue brought Duanling Tian back to the teleportation formations in the anti-god realm, Duanling Tian saw many high-ranking gods appearing near the teleportation formations. Now these high-ranking gods are gathering together, listening to the command of one of the 3 supreme powers he had met before, leaving the teleportation formation in an orderly manner and returning to the god-defying realm. Seeming to see Duanling Shen's doubts, Duan Yue said, "The teleportation formation of Wanjie, the only place beyond the realm and the space barrier of Wanjiech. Near the teleportation formation, there are often big monsters running rampant, strong but not strong. It is Lingji, it's not high, and generally the upper gods can handle it. The existence of those big monsters will have a certain impact on the teleportation array, and may even destroy the teleportation array. And this kind of big monster, it is impossible for the strongest to deal with it all the time. Therefore, the major realms of the world generally send a group of high-ranking gods on a regular basis to take turns to clear these big monsters in places outside the realm and near space barriers. Demon. Duan Yuwei's words also made some of Duan Lingshan's past confusions clear. Before he left the anti-god realm, he had heard that the high-ranking gods in the anti-god realm, after stepping into the high-ranking gods for a period of time, would be forced to leave the anti-god realm and go to places outside the realm. Dare to be affectionate is to remove those big demons that affect the teleportation array. I've seen the Midnight Saint. Except for one supreme power who led a group of high-ranking gods from the god-defying realm to leave the teleportation formation. The other two supreme powers discovered Duan Lingtian and Duan Yuwei after realizing it, and saluted Duan Yuwei immediately. You too, my affairs in the anti-god realm are over, and now I have to go back to the Thunder Holy Land. Trouble for you too. Duan Yuwei nodded to the two of them and said bluntly, I would like to serve you, ye mid-saint. The two were busy for a while, and opened the teleportation array, allowing Duan Yuwei and Duan Lingtian to leave the teleportation array on the side of the anti-god realm and return to the Thunder Saint realm. However, when they returned to the Thunder Holy Land, it was not the teleportation formation that appeared when they came. Appeared in another place. For Duan Lingtian, it was a completely unfamiliar place. I didn't expect to come to the area under the control of Qingyun Shengzong. After appearing, Duan Yuwei glanced around and saw a slightly familiar face. After a brief recollection, she seemed to have thought of something and muttered. And when Duan Lingtian heard her words, his heart moved slightly. Qingyun Shengzong. Of course had heard of it. Because Qingyun Shengzong is also one of the saint forces in Lei Shang, and it is no weaker than Bibo Tianfu. Whoosh! While Duan Lingshan's thoughts were flying, a figure galloped from a distance, and in a blink of an eye, it was not far in front of the two of them. The person who came was an old man who was over-old, wearing a light blue robe. After he appeared at this time, his eyes were staring at Duan Yuwei. Yu Yi Banqing, rare guest. Which realm of myriad realms did you go to? The person who came stared at Duan Yuwei with a teasing expression and asked, Which world do I go to? I don't need to report to you, Fu Liangyu, right? Duan Yuwei glanced at the old man in green robe lightly, and there was no politeness in her words. She has some grudges with the Fu family where Fu Liangyu belongs. To be precise, he had some grudges with Fu Liangjia's eldest brother, the semi-sage of the Fu family. The Fu family's status under the Qingyun sect is almost equal to the Duan family status under the Bibo Tianfu, and it is also a semi-sacred force. As for Fu Liangyu in front of him, he is considered a strong person in the Fu family, and his strength is second only to his elder brother, the half-sage of the Fu family. That's natural. Fu Liangyu smiled sullenly. After all, you are a saint in the dark night. Humph. Duan Yuwei snorted coldly, then did not stay, took Duan Lingtian and left directly. Fu Liangyu, on the other hand, looked at their backs from a distance. A sharp light flashed in his eyes, and sent a message directly to the half-saint family behind him, the Fu family. Big brother, that Duan Yuwei, I don't know which realm I came back from, and it happened to appear in the teleportation array area where I was on duty. Now, she is heading towards Bibo Tianfu. Fu Liangjia's message was sent back to Fuss House. Immediately, within the Fu family, a figure burst out of the sky and galloped towards the Bibo Tianfu. At the same time, two messages were also sent out by him. Old Ghost Han, haven't you always wanted to repay my favor? Today, as long as you help me kill that Duan Yuwei, the favor you owe me will be repaid. Brother Tuoba, Duan Yuwei accidentally teleported to the area of our Qingyun Shengzong alone with a high-ranking god, and is now heading to Bibo Tianfu. This is a good opportunity to kill her. Come quickly. Okay. After leaving the teleportation formation, Duan Lingtian felt that Duan Yuwei's face became extremely solemn, and she didn't even chat with him as usual. Even Duan Yuwei is taking him on the road now, although he can't see the situation along the way, but he can also see, Duan Yuwei, there is a high probability that she is on her way at full speed. What's the situation? Could it be because of that person just now? The current Duan Yue gives Duan Ling Tian the feeling that she is running for her life. That's right. Just run for your life. It was hard for him to imagine what could make Duan Yue lose her temper like this and run for her life at full speed. Are the saints going to make a move? Or, how many demigods? Thinking of this, Duan Ling Tian only felt a tingling in his scalp. My sister who was forced to admit. Who the did I offend in this Qingyun Shengzong area? Chapter 45:11. Duan Yui's current state is obviously not quite right. This made Duan Ling Tian, who had some vague guesses, but couldn't help but feel a great sense of crisis. To make Duan Yue Tang Tang Yu Yi Banqing leave in such a panic, obviously, the imminent danger is also fatal to Duan Yue, otherwise she would not be like this. Can Duan Ling Tian not panic for making a half-sage so rude? Now he is not even the strongest. Wrong. It should be said that now, he is not even the invincible superior god venerable whose strength is closest to the strongest. Although it can be said that it is only one step away, but this one step is like a gulf. A genuine and invincible high-ranking who has comprehended a certain law to the realm of great perfection. If he wants to kill him now, even if he is in excellent condition and makes all his efforts, it is almost impossible to survive after 10 moves. It should be fine, right? I still have a lot to do. Kier hasn't woken up yet. Now Duan Ling Tian is a little anxious. After all, this kind of crisis, if he was alone, would be difficult to encounter. After all, it came from the interception of possible multiple demigods, or saints. Xiao Tian, I will find a random place to drop you in front of me later, and you will go to the direction of Bibo Tianfu. The direction is the direction we are going now. Of course, you'd better take a detour. Just now the people in the Fu family also saw you. Maybe they didn't see you beside me, and they would search you. Duan Yui's message was passed into Duan Lingshan's ears. This voice, like a reassurance needle, made Duan Ling Tian heave a sigh of relief. It's not that he is greedy for life. Instead, if he stayed, even if he died worthless and meaningless. Not to mention the sage's shot, even if it is a half-sage, if he raises his hand casually, he can be crushed to death with one finger. Sister Wei, after you put me down, is there anything you want me to do? Duan Ling Tian asked Duan Yue through voice transmission. Now the two are on their way at an extremely fast speed, and it is difficult to communicate with each other, so they can only communicate through voice transmission. As for Duan Yue, when she heard what he said, she sighed and said after a long while, if I am alive this time, there is nothing you need to do. If I die, it will be in vain to tell you anything. If I die, the Duan clan will definitely declines. As for what happens in the future, we can only see their fortunes. Duan Yui's words made Duan Ling Tian even more uneasy. Is she so unhappy? Sister Wei, can you tell me it? Before Duan Ling Tian finished speaking, he was interrupted by Duan Yue. Duan Yui's voice transmission was full of urgency and determination. Shoutin, I'll let you down here. The old guy from the Fu family who has a grudge against me is coming soon. With him, there are 2 other guys who are not weaker than him. But it's not that easy to keep me Duan Yue. As soon as Duan Yue finished speaking, Duan Ling Tian felt a thrust pushing him away, and then wrapped himself in a very fast speed. After decelerating until later, he can already control the power in his body and control his body. He dodged, and his figure disappeared directly into the lush forest beneath his feet, and then he walked quietly all the way. However, they did not follow Duan Yue in the same direction. Not long after Duan Ling Tian landed, he heard 3 superimposed rapid wind whistles coming from his ears. The wind whistling was short-lived, but he could still hear it clearly. 3 semi-sacred powerhouses? Duan Lingshan's face also became extremely solemn at this moment. At the same time, there was a look of helplessness on his face. He is too weak. Staying by Duan Yui's side can only hold her back. The most urgent task is to get back to the Duan family first. As for Sister Wei, she can only rely on herself. She is a semi-sacred powerhouse, so there shouldn't be an accident, right? But it was the other 3 semi-sacred powerhouses who were chasing her. Pay home. Now, Zhou Xiaojun also remembered that when he left the teleportation formation just now, the person who greeted him seemed to be from the Fu family. The other party, named Fu Liangyu. No wonder the other party's words are so unkind. It turns out that the Fu family and Sister Wei have a grudge. These 3 semi-sages should also be found by him. As for Duan Yuwei's enmity with the Fu family, why didn't he kill Fu Liangyu who was in the teleportation array just now? Duan Lingtian can easily guess. It must be because the teleportation array belongs to the Qingyun sect of the saints. And Fu Liangyu, who is on duty there, can also be regarded as the representative of Qingyun Shengzong. If Fu Liangyu were killed there, he would definitely offend the Qingyun sect. When the Qingyun sect was angry, let alone Duan Yuwei, even the entire Duan clan would not be able to protect him. Duan Yuwei caused trouble first, and the Bibo Tianfu behind the Duan family might not necessarily protect Duan Yuwei and the Duan family. Take a detour and be safe. Although he felt that the 3 half-sages had no time to pay attention to him, Duan Lingtian cautiously took a detour for the sake of caution. Finally, after half a day, he successfully entered the area governed by Bibo Tianfu. It's safe. He knew that stepping on this land also meant that he was safe. At this time, there is no need to hide and fly directly to where the Tourmaline Holy City is located. Of course, his heart was still very uneasy. I hope Sister Wei is safe and sound. Although judging from Duan Yuwei's reaction when she was chased and killed, this possibility is not very high, but Duan Lingtian still hopes that there will be a miracle. Duan Yuwei, being good to him may be a plot for him in the future. However, he did pay his sincerity, and it was not a useless use. Moreover, the reason why Duan Yuwei was in danger this time, in the final analysis, has something to do with him. If it wasn't for him to ask Duan Yuwei to return to the God Realm for help, Duan Yuwei would not have appeared in the area governed by the Qingyun sect through the teleportation array, and would not have met the people of the Fu family. If you don't meet people from the Fu family, you won't usher in the pursuit of the 3 great demigods. Sister Wage. If something happens to you, when I have enough strength in the future, as long as the person who killed you is still alive, I will send him to Huangquan Road to be a cow and a horse for you. In Duan Lingshan's eyes, a cold light appeared, as if he had chosen someone to devour him. After rushing for more than an hour, the outline of the Tourmaline Holy City has already appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. Passing through the Tourmaline Holy City, go in the other direction of the Tourmaline Holy City. There is also the residence of the Duan clan. If the head of the family learns about the death of Sister Wei, I am afraid that the entire Duan family will be in turmoil. I don't know if it will affect this trip to the ruins. I hope it doesn't affect it. However, even if it is affected, I say hello to the envoy of the Bibo Tianfu, and there should still be a chance to enter the place of return to the ruins. For Duan Lingtian, the return to the ruins in Bibo Tianfu was both an opportunity and an examination. The reason why it is said to be an exam is because, as long as he performs well in it, Bibo Tianfu will definitely value him and take the initiative to recruit him. You must know that being recruited and actively seeking to join are 2 different concepts. Sister Wei, don't blame me for leaving the Duan clan. You should also know that the Duan clan is just a springboard I chose. Going to Bibo Tianfu will make it easier for me to become stronger. In this way, the day of revenge for you will be getting closer and closer. When he was alone and appeared outside the Duan family's residence, Duan Lingshan's heart silently said to Duan Yuwei, whose life and death were uncertain, and there was a high probability that something had happened. Chapter 45:12. The Residence of the Duan Clan. Duan Lingtian, as a great worshipper of the Duan clan, now enters the Duan clan, naturally, all the way unimpeded. When he first entered the Duan clan, Duan Lingtian didn't feel much. The elders and children of the Duan clan, who were in charge of patrolling on the periphery, were conscientious. They greeted him when they saw him. From their expressions, they could not see anything unusual. However, after entering the Duan clan, Duan Lingtian immediately contacted Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan. Duan Bing's response made Duan Lingtian startled. Duan Bing's reaction is normal. Even, the first sentence is, Lingtian worship. You came back with the ancestors? Patriarch, I came back alone. Where are you? Duan Lingtian messaged. I have something urgent to report to you. Come directly to my place. Duan Bing said. It is good. After Duan Lingtian responded, he went directly to Duan Bing. On the way, he also calmed down. Now there is no bad reaction from the patriarch, which means that Sister Wei is likely to be alive. Otherwise, if Sister Wei's soul card shatters, the patriarch will definitely react. Soul cards are similar to soul beads, which can give feedback on a person's life and death. However, Soul cards are much better than soul orbs. The soul left in the soul bead will disintegrate with the passage of time. And the soul card can lock the power of the soul left by a person. Unless the person dies, the soul card will always preserve the power of the soul and will not let the locked soul power collapse. Ling Tian worship. What is your urgent need to find me? Duan Bing asked curiously. Duan Bing didn't feel anything unusual about Duan Ling Tian coming alone. After all, the one who went out with Duan Ling Tian this time was the ancestor of their Duan clan, Yu Yi Bansheng. If their old ancestor came with Duan Bing now, he might still be surprised. He only thought that the old ancestor of their Duan clan went back to his cultivation place after returning. Patriarch, Sister Weiss soul card, is it still okay? Regarding the fact that the ancestor of the Duan clan recognized Duan Ling Tian as his younger brother, long before Duan Ling Tian and Duan Yue left the Duan clan together this time, Duan Yue had already informed Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, and the other 3 Xian 4 of the Duan clan. Existence of order. Because of this, Duan Ling Tian mentioned the word Sister Wei, and Duan Bing could connect with his ancestors immediately. However, Duan Lingshan's words made Duan Bing's complexion change instantly. Ling Tian worship. What do you mean by that? Duan Bing looked at Duan Ling Tian again, and it became extraordinarily sharp, and even his face changed completely. Old ancestor. What happened in the anti-god realm? The anti-god realm is one of the 18 realms in the 10,000 realms. It is said that there is a strong saint in the city, and there are many semi-sacred existences below. The old ancestor of their Duan clan had entered the god-defying realm. If the powerhouses of the god-defying realm were to harm her, they might have left her completely. Sister Wei didn't come back with a message? Duan Ling Tian took a deep breath, and when he heard Duan Bing's words, he suddenly realized that Sister Wei did not send a message back to the Duan clan. Or you can say, Sister Wei had a message to return to the Duan clan, but she was stopped on the way. Ling Tian worship. What happened? Now, Duan Bing has lost his temper, and there is a tinge of blood on his eyes. Their Duan clan is such a semi-sacred powerhouse. It can be said that the status of the Duan clan today is entirely dependent on their half-sacred ancestor of the Duan clan, Yu Yi Bansheng, Duan Yue. Patriarch. Duan Ling Tian didn't dare to hesitate, and hurriedly told Duan Bing what happened after returning himself and Duan Yue to the out-of-bounds land. After he finished speaking, he couldn't help but wonder. In such a case, Sister Wei shouldn't have come back without a message. It won't come back. Duan Bing shook his head with an ugly face, and at the same time said under Duan Lingshan's blank look, there is the site of the Qingyun sect, and within the area controlled by the Qingyun sect, there is a special formation to block the communication. The ancestors' communication you can't get out of the area of Qingyun Shengzong at all, and you will be stopped at the edge of Qingyun Shengzong. Similarly, the communication from our side of Bibo Tianfu is difficult to go out, and it will be stopped by the special formation established by Bibo Tianfu. For the sage forces, it's also a way for them to swear their sovereignty. The words fell, Duan Bing's face suddenly softened a little, and he said to Duan Ling Tian, I just called the elder in the clan who is responsible for supervising the soul card. The ancestor's soul card is still intact. This also shows that the ancestors are safe and sound. Ling Tian worship, you are ready to prepare. Tomorrow morning, the special envoy from Bibo Tianfu will take you and our Duan clan to the place of return to the ruins discovered by Bibo Tianfu this time. Duan Bing said to Duan Ling Tian. It is good. Duan Ling Tian responded, and at the same time secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Since Sister Wei is all right now, maybe she has escaped the interception of those semi-sacred powerhouses. Of course, Duan Ling Tian knew in his heart that Sister Wei might not be all right, and she might still be struggling. But even so, he knew that he couldn't do anything. Don't say that you don't know where the other party is now. Even if you know with his strength, it's still cannon fodder to go up. The cannon fodder is not a problem, and it may also hold the opponent back. After Duan Ling Tian left, Duan Bing naturally couldn't sit still. After all, now the ancestor of their Duan clan, Duan Yue, a saint in the middle of the night, is likely to be in a desperate situation. At this time, if you can find a helper, you might be able to support the other party in time. So, he immediately moved. Directly contacted the other 3 Xian 4th Order powerhouses of the Duan clan. And when these 3 Xian Tier 4 powerhouses knew what happened to Duan Yue, their faces became very ugly. That girl Yue was discovered by the Fu family in the area of Qingyun Shengzong. Trouble. Trouble this time. one of the Duan clan powerhouses at the 4th stage of the Xian, the white-bearded old man, in terms of seniority, is also Duan Yuwei's elder, but he was later surpassed by Duan Yuwei. Cousin Shi shouldn't go to the god-defying realm. If something happens to her this time, the disaster of the Duan clan will be brought about by the great worship of Duan Ling Tian. He is our Duan clan. The Broom Star. Another Xian 4th Order powerhouse, a middle-aged man, said in a deep voice. It's pointless to say that Nauj. The last strong man of the 4th rank, a beautiful woman, said with a gloomy expression. Since Sister Yu Wei went to the anti-god realm, it means that she went there voluntarily, not forced by someone. Moreover, do you think that accompanying someone who is not even the strongest can force her? As for what you said, it was because of the other party that she would go to the god realm and have an accident when she came back. Is it possible that you can't have an accident when you usually walk outside alone? If you happen to meet a mad sage strongman who shoots you, can you live? I believe that this matter, the big worshipper named Duan Ling Tian did not expect it. Moreover, you should also know that the hatred between Sister Yu Wei and the Fu family was forged a long time ago. But it has nothing to do with the big offering. The beautiful woman is not actually a member of the Duan clan. It was Duan Yu Wei who met when she was traveling abroad. The two were as close as sisters. In the end, Duan Yu Wei returned to the Duan family, and she also brought her back to the Duan family without any worries. Since then, the Duan family has added a strong foreign surname. And she is also the strongest person under Duan Yu Wei in the Duan clan. Because of this, as soon as she opened her mouth, the middle-aged man could only shut up. Now is not the time to argue about this. At this time, what we should do is to contact the semi-sacred powerhouses who have made friends with our Duan clan, and let them go to the Qingyun Shenzong side to see if we can find that girl Yu Wei. The eldest and highest-ranking white-bearded old man revealed the key in one sentence. And almost at the moment when the white-bearded old man's voice fell, Duan Bing, who had softened his face, suddenly changed his face. The next moment, he knelt on the ground with a puff and cried out, "Old ancestor!" The 3 people who were standing also changed at this time. Then, the 3 disappeared almost at the same time. The 3 appeared again, already in a hall on the side of the ancestral hall of the Duan clan where the high-level soul cards were placed by the Duan clan. When they saw that the soul card standing alone in the top row in the hall was torn apart, the 3 of them turned pale. "Girl Yu Wei! Sister Yu Wei! Cousin!" The 3 of them cried out in grief almost at the same time. This night was undoubtedly hopeless for the senior members of the Duan clan. Because, the pillar of the Duan clan, Duan Yu Wei, who was known as the Midnight Saint, has perished. However, the news was only circulated among the high-level members of the Duan clan, and it was not spread. Like a group of worshippers in the Duan clan, no one received the news. This also led to Duan Lingshan's big offering, and he didn't even know about it. As for why the Duan clan did this, it was nothing more than worrying about the unrest within the clan. Without the semi-sacred power in the seat of the semi-sacred powerhouse, can it still be regarded as a semi-sacred power? Of course, they also know, this news was hidden soon. Soon, the semi-sacred powerhouses who killed their Duan clan ancestors would spread the news widely to show their power and prestige. Killing a half-sage is something worth showing off. At the same time, in the Qingyun Shenzong area, over a vast wasteland, blood is pouring down, and occasionally you can hear the sound of ghosts crying and wolf howling, a brilliance that spreads for tens of thousands of miles, and a picture of the growth of all things is derived, which is lifelike. Then, the picture paused and then fell apart. A bigger rain of blood continued to pour down. This is a half-sacred death? Moreover, it is still a half-sacred who is good at the law of life. In the Qingyun Shenzong area, in many places, there are strong men rising from the sky, looking at the vision of heaven and earth in the distance, and sighing. Chapter 45:13. Bibo Tianfu Special Envoy Hu Mingyue Duan Ling Tian thought that the next morning, before departure, there might be good news. But what he didn't expect was that what he was waiting for was a bad news. The pillar of the Duan family, the Midnight Saint Duan Yu Wei, finally died yesterday. This news, apart from the high-level surname of our Duan clan, is only known to you among the worshippers. I hope that it will not be spread in a short time. Our Duan clan, we must be prepared to meet the various consequences that the clan will suffer after the death of our ancestors. Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, reminded Duan Ling Tian of the news. The reason why I tell you this news is because you and the ancestors have a sister-in-law relationship. You have the right to know. You don't have to blame yourself for this matter. Even if you don't return to the God realm with you, as long as they have the heart to target the ancestors, sooner or later they will find an opportunity to attack the ancestors. Follow Bibo Tianfu's messengers to the place of return to the ruins. People who perform well will be valued by Bibo Tianfu. If you can come out on top, Bibo Tianfu will probably agree to some reasonable requests from you. For the Duan clan, you don't have to worry. Our Duan clan will not fall down so easily. Even when Duan Lingtian left with the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, Duan Bing's last message to him was still echoing in his ears. Duan Lingtian remained silent. At this time, he was in the artifact spaceship of the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu together with the two new worshippers that the Duan clan found. The special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, a middle-aged man in a gray-white robe, sat quietly on the side of the spaceship, keeping a distance from Duan Lingtian and the others. Great worship, I heard that your swordsmanship has reached the 6th order level? If there is a chance, I hope you can give some pointers. Among the offerings from the two Duan clan, the young man in a green robe moved to Duan Lingshan's side and sat down, and greeted Duan Lingtian warmly. Okay. Duan Lingtian heard the sound. His thoughts were interrupted. He glanced at the green-robed youth in front of him, and nodded. Then I won't disturb the big worship to you. I don't know if you know my name. My name is Xueqi. The green-robed youth Xueqi naturally saw that he had disturbed this man, and with an apologetic smile, he also retreated. There is no dissatisfaction. After all, it was you who disturbed the other party. Moreover, the strength of this great worshipper, although he has never heard of the Duan clan that he joined later, he has heard people mention it. It is said that it has the strength close to the invincible upper god. And this kind of existence, even in the power of the saints like Bibo Tianfu, there are only a few people. It's an absolute genius monster. Although he is considered a genius, he is obviously not on the same level compared to the other party. Another enshrined by the Duan clan was a middle-aged man in a black robe. When sitting cross-legged, there was a sword on his leg. This sword, not even a powerful artifact, is just an ordinary artifact, quietly relying on it. However, if you look closely, you can see, around this sword, there was a faint divine power flowing. Obviously the middle-aged black robe did it on purpose. Lan Ming worships. The green-robed youth Xueqi was obviously more familiar with the black-robed middle-aged man. As soon as he spoke, he said in a familiar tone, "What are you doing? I remember, the last time I discussed with you, the weapon you used was a supreme sword. Not this ordinary sword." As Xueqi asked, the middle-aged black-robed man known as Lan Ming Enshrined also opened his eyes, looked at Xueqi and said, "Xueqi Enshrined, this is what I used before I got the supreme divine sword. The longest sword ever. This sword is also the sword that I got when I was weak when I got the inheritance of a sword cultivator. It can be said to be my enlightenment teacher. Although my current swordsmanship has surpassed that senior swordsman, but my swordsmanship started with this sword, and the inspiration behind my swordsmanship promotion also came from this sword, so I understand the swordsmanship. When the time comes, I will take out this sword and carefully observe every corner of its blade. However, the kendo insight it can bring me has become less and less. Perhaps, it won't be long before it will return to my ring space and fall into ashes. Of course, falling ashes is just a metaphor. In the Neji space, because it is in a completely sealed state, there is not even a shred of dust. Can it still be like this? Xueqi was surprised. It seems that everyone's way of comprehending kendo is different. I comprehend kendo, and more relying on imagination. Of course, my foundation also comes from my elders. Xueqi said later. He smiled. Just like Lan Ming enshrined you, your swordsmanship surpassed that of the senior swordsman who left you with this sword, and my current swordsmanship also surpassed that of my elder. You and I are now better than blue. Having said that, he looked at Duan Lingtian, who was sitting not far away, and said softly, I'm afraid that the swordsman who is enshrined in a big way is even more brilliant. When Lan Ming heard the words, he nodded in agreement. The swordsmanship of the Great Consecration has reached the level of the 6th order, and it must be better than the blue. The conversation between the two was not loud, but Duan Lingtian could still hear it. Listening to their conversation involving the master he most respects, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but listen and say nothing, and opened his eyes for a while, looked at the two and said, You are wrong. My swordsmanship has not yet reached the point where the blue is better than the blue. My master's swordsmanship is at least the 7th rank now. As soon as Duan Lingtian said these words, both Xueqi and Lan Ming were startled, and then their faces showed disbelief. Even the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, who was sitting in the distance and did not move for a long time, opened his eyes at this time, and dodged in front of Duan Lingtian. Lingtian worship, are you serious? In the face of this Bibo Tianfu envoy's question, Duan Lingtian nodded, I don't need to tell lies. In my kendo, it is estimated that it was only at the 4th rank. The kendo that my master mastered at that time was no weaker than the kendo that I master now. Duan Lingtian has always admired the gentleness of the master. In terms of cultivation, he surpassed his master before because of repeated encounters. However, in terms of kendo, he has always been left behind. Every time I meet, I think my swordsmanship can be closer to my master, but I didn't expect that it would be farther away again and again. As far as I know, there are only 2 saints who have comprehended the 7th stage of Kendog. Is your master one of those 2? When the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu said this, his tone became a lot more polite. Of course, he added in his heart, if it weren't for those 2, then it must be a hidden saint and strong man. No. In the face of the envoy of Bibo Tianfu, Duan Lingtian shook his head. And hearing Duan Lingshan's answer, the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu also confirmed his guess. Lingtian worship, this trip to the ruins, as long as your harvest can satisfy our Bibo Tianfu will never treat you badly. The Bibo Tianfu special envoy's attitude towards Duan Lingtian has obviously become a lot more friendly. Thank you for the reminder. I will do my best. Duan Lingtian continued speaking. You don't need to call me from the special envoy. My name is Hu Mingyue. You can just call me Brother Hu. Maybe, it won't be long before you will enter our Bibo Tianfu and become your own. Hu Mingyue laughed. This was also the first time that Hu Mingyue took the initiative to reveal his name in front of Duan Lingtian and the others. Before that, the 3 only knew that this was the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu. Others, I don't know at all. This time, Duan Lingtian left the Duan clan, and he did not bring Tan Xiuting with him as he returned to the God Realm 2 days ago, leaving Tan Xiuting to stay with the Duan clan. In the future, if he enters Bibo Tianfu, he plans to ask Tan Xiuting to go there. Of course, he also told Tan Xiuting, if he wants to leave, he can leave at any time, and he can revoke the blood oath that day. However, Tan Xiuting expressed his willingness to continue to follow Duan Lingtian. Following Duan Lingshan's days, Tan Xiuting also tasted a lot of sweetness. Although he was just a sidekick by Duan Lingshan's side, whether it was this way or the Duan clan, because of Duan Lingshan's relationship, he gained a lot of benefits that he never dared to think about in the past. With his little strength, wanting to obtain those things on his own is a fool's errand. But now it is within reach. Chapter 45:14. Hu Mingyue, the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, heard from Duan Lingtian that the swordsmanship mastered by his master has reached at least the 7th levels. I only thought that Duan Lingshan's master was a strong saint. Therefore, on the next journey, he was very polite and enthusiastic to Duan Lingtian. The other 2 were a little jealous, but they also knew that they and Duan Lingtian, the great sacrifice of the Duan clan, were incomparable in any respect. Now, they also think that the master in Duan Lingshan's mouth should be a powerful hidden world powerhouse. Moreover, it is the strongest who has understood the 7th order kendo. Even if the superpowers who are good at the law have not yet comprehended the realm of great perfection, they are definitely invincible characters among the semi-sages. Sister Wei, just leave like this. Even now, Duan Lingtian still hasn't recovered from the news of Duan Yuwei's death. In his mind, the figure in front of Duan Yuwei is all. Although Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, advised him not to blame himself. But can he not blame himself? After all, what happened to Duan Yuwei on the way back to the God Realm with him? If you don't go back with me, Sister Wei will be fine. Duan Lingshan's heart was full of guilt. At the same time, in the eyes, the flame of hatred is also burning. Sister Wei, don't worry. If I have enough strength in the future, I will definitely take revenge for you. Duan Lingtian thought silently in his heart. Certainly. Guilt is guilt. Duan Lingtian himself knows that he can't be buried in guilt all the time. He still has a lot of things to do. Don't say anything else. Just say revenge for Duan Yuwei. If he does not have enough strength, it is impossible to achieve. This trip to the ruins of Bibo Tianfu is my chance. As long as it shows its value in front of the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, not only can Kier's soul be imprisoned, but I can also get the resources of Bibo Tianfu. Bibo Tianfu is a sage power, and its resources are tilted, which ordinary people can't imagine. Like his hometown, the anti-god realm, the background of the entire realm combined, I am afraid it may not be comparable to the Bibo Tianfu. In Bibo Tianfu, it is said that there are two saints in the contemporary era. In Lei Shangjing, it is an absolute hegemonic force. After rushing for a few days, Duan Lingtian, Xueqi, and Lan Ming were also taken by Hu Mingyue outside the residence of Bibo Tianfu, just on the periphery. As for the resident of Bibo Tianfu, it is impossible to see at all, and it is full of fog. And at this moment outside the fog ahead, a lot of people have gathered, obviously like Duan Lingtian and the three of them, the kendo geniuses collected by Bibo Tianfu from all over the place. The return to the ruins opened by our Bibo Tianfu opened a year ago. The three of you are the second batch of kendo geniuses from the three semi-holy forces in the Tourmaline Holy City, Hu Mingyue said to Duan Lingtian and the others. The Tourmaline Holy City also has a kendo genius collected by semi-holy forces, who will set off in a year and come here. This time, 3 groups of people will enter the land of return to the ruins. This is also our past practice in Bibo Tianfu, Hu Mingyue said. 3 groups of people? Xueqi wondered. Why are there 3 groups of people? Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming also looked at Hu Mingyue at this time, and they were also curious about it. A group of people go in together, okay? No wonder the envoy only brought the 3 of us here. Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. After a period of time, he discovered that Hu Mingyue only brought 3 of them, kendo geniuses from the Duan clan, to Bibo Tianfu. At that time, he was a little puzzled. In the Tourmaline Holy City, it seems that not only the Duan clan is a semi-holy force, right? The other 2 semi-holy forces must have also received an invitation from Bibo Tianfu. Could it be that they haven't found a genius powerhouse of the 4th rank of kendo? This is obviously unlikely. After all, on the Duan clan side, even though they were cramming for a while, they found 2 people. As for Duan Lingtian, he sent it to the door himself, not counting the efforts of the Duan clan to find it. Facing Xueao's question, Hu Mingyue said with a heavy expression, because many years ago on our side of Bibo Tianfu, we found a place of return to the ruins. That place of return to the ruins is also forbidden to those above the strongest to enter. At that time, we gathered a group of people who met the conditions and asked them to enter the land of return to the ruins to hunt for treasure. And as a result, the entire army was wiped out. Because of this, after that, whenever our Bibo Tianfu finds the place of return to the ruins, if we send people in, we will enter in 3 batches. This time, wait for the first group of people to come out before you go in. The time given to them is 1 year. Hu Mingyue said. What? Xueao's face was shocked. The first batch of people, after 1 year, will we enter? Isn't all the good things in there already collected by them? They eat meat in the front, and we are in the back. I'm afraid we won't even be able to eat meat residue, right? Xueao's words were also recognized by Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming. They naturally thought so. It's also possible. Hu Mingyue nodded, but why don't you think about it? If there is really danger inside, it can wipe out the entire army of those who go in. Isn't it a blessing that you didn't go in? They go first, and the opportunity is relatively large, but at the same time as the opportunity is large, it also corresponds to the corresponding big risk. As soon as Hu Mingyue said these words, Xueqi fell silent. Indeed, this is true. According to the agreement, they will come out the day after tomorrow's. Later, after we are all together, we will go to the entrance of the return to the ruins. Hu Mingyue continued. What if someone doesn't come out? Xueqi asked. Don't come out. Hu Mingyue smiled. Then after he comes out, he will surely die. If Bibo Tianfu is concerned, not everyone can disobey at will. What if it's the genius of Bibo Tianfu? Xueqi asked again. Could it be that Bibo Tianfu killed even his own people? Just because it didn't come out in time? Among the first batch of people, there is no genius from our Bibo Tianfu. Xueqi said lightly. Our Bibo Tianfu genius will enter the 3rd batch, which is the last batch. Therefore, the possibility you mentioned is not possible. Bibo Tianfu is prudent enough, and his own genius should enter last. Naturally, Xueqi didn't dare to say these words indiscriminately. He said it to Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming through sound transmission. Actually, that's normal. Lan Ming's voice transmission said to Duan Lingtian and Xueqi. Anyway, before we go in, we must leave our own ring outside. So, Bibo Tianfu, we are not afraid that we will embezzle what they want. Since we get what they want, we will definitely hand over it. So why should they let their own geniuses take the lead and take risks? Lan Ming's words can be said to hit the nail on the head. 3 groups of people, each group of people for a year. It seems that this return to the ruins can only exist for 3 years. Xueqi said. Good. Hu Mingyue nodded. Before our Bibo Tianfu opened the return to the ruins, we made a judgment that the place of return to the ruins can exist for about 3 years. So, in the 2nd year, you should cherish it. Someone is at the front, accumulating experience for you, and you can get twice the result with half the effort when you enter the 2nd batch. Chapter 45:15. Duan Lingtian, Lan Ming and Xueqi waited with Hu Mingyue until the next day, when they finally arrived. After everyone arrived, they all got on the same artifact spaceship and went to the entrance to the ruins. Duan Lingtian glanced around. In addition to the people from Bibo Tianfu, this time, they collected kendo geniuses from all over the country to explore the return to the ruins. This 2nd batch, including him, Lan Ming, and Xueqi, actually had 36 people. It seems that this time, Bibo Tianfu has found hundreds of kendo geniuses and went to explore the return to the ruins in 3 batches. While Duan Lingtian was observing the surroundings, Xueqi and Lan Ming, as well as other kendo geniuses, were also looking around. These kendo geniuses are either sitting on one side alone or in groups of 3 or 5. Everyone's face has a bit of pride. Even Lan Ming and Xueqi, although they were very low-key in front of Duan Lingtian, were limited to Duan Lingtian. When others looked at them, they were indifferent and could hardly hide their arrogance. This time, when I went to the place where the return to the ruins was located, many of the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu who brought people over did not go there together. Only 3 people remained. Hu Mingyue, who brought Duan Lingtian and the 3, was one of the 3. At this time, the 3 were chatting in front of the artifact spaceship. Old Xue, I heard that one of the geniuses you brought in this time has realized the existence of the 6th order swordsmanship. An old man with a white beard supported the long beard on his chin, squinted his eyes, and asked Hu Mingyue. When Hu Mingyue heard this, he smiled and said, Yes, it is the great worship of the Duan clan in the holy city of Tourmaline, named Duan Lingtian. The kendo comprehends the 6th level, and the law of space also comprehends the realm of small perfection. Invincible superior under the gods. There should be no one who can defeat him alone. Not even the 3 of our Bibo Tianfu? Another young man in a blue robe asked in surprise. Hu Mingyue shook his head. Probably not. That Duan Lingshan's strength, this time I have also asked clearly in the Duan clan, and it is indeed very strong. Of course, it's up to him to know how strong it is. This time, if he does well in the land of return to ruins, I plan to recommend him to the palace. Hu Mingyue said. If such a genius is willing to enter our Bibo Tianfu, we will not refuse even if his performance is average in the land of returning ruins. The white-bearded old man laughed. He wants to come in by himself, which is different from our invitation. Hu Mingyue said with a smile. We invite, we must promise something. And he wants to enter. Naturally he can't take the initiative to make conditions with us, right? So, I think it's impossible for him to take the initiative to come to our Bibo Tianfu, and he will definitely wait for us to invite him. What Hu Mingyue said was actually what Duan Lingtian thought. To be precise, it was Mid-Saint Yu Yi Duan Yue who reminded him to do this before. You want to ask to enter the Bibo Tianfu, and Bibo Tianfu actively invites them, which are completely 2 concepts. According to Duan Yue's words, her younger brother's talent is so enchanting. Unless the people at Bibo Tianfu are blind, they will definitely invite her younger brother to join him. It was also because of Duan Yue's reminder that Duan Lingtian knew the importance of holding the shelf in front of Bibo Tianfu. Otherwise, not to mention anything else, in order to release Kier's soul imprisonment, he would not mind taking the initiative to make a request to Bibo Tianfu to join Bibo Tianfu. Just about 2 hours later, the artifact spacecraft stopped. And Duan Lingtian and others also followed Hu Mingyue and other 3 powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, and got off the magical spaceship. At this time, they discovered that they appeared in a vast barren mountain. Moreover, when they came out, there were already many people waiting here. About a dozen people. Those people are all strong men from Bibo Tianfu. The young man wearing a white robe with a silver border is obviously the highest. Beside Duan Tian, Xueqi looked at a figure in the distance and said softly. Duan Tian heard the words and looked over. However, they saw that Hu Mingyue and the other three who brought them out all stepped forward at this time, saluted the young man in a white robe with a silver border, and called out Master Hall Master. Lan Ming, what kind of strength do you think this person is? Xueqi asked Lan Ming. When Lan Ming heard the words, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and then he said in a deep voice, at least it's a semi-holy. It does have some eyesight. Suddenly, a voice came, and a young man in a brocade clothes came over. Duan Tian had an impression of this person, a kendo genius who came over in a spaceship with them. This person had previously sat alone and closed his eyes to rest in peace. Really half-holy? Xueqi looked at the young man in genie and asked in surprise. You don't know him, do you? The young man in genie smiled when he heard the words. I'm not qualified to know him. However, I did meet him and it was many years ago when I was still young. His name is Xiao Tianxi. He is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu, a semi-saint powerhouse, and is also recognized as the next saint of Bibo Tianfu. The young man in brocade said respectfully. Xiao Tianxi, Lord of the Golden Dragon Palace. Hearing the words of the young man in genie, Duan Tian also remembered the name. I just don't know. How does this person's strength compare to Sister Wei? Duan Tian said secretly. However, after thinking about Duan Wei for a moment, his face darkened again, and the original living person disappeared in a blink of an eye. Moreover, after trying to find a way out for him, he was killed. It is conceivable that if Duan Wei hadn't put him down at that time, he would have been killed together with Duan Wei. He didn't think that the three semi-sacred powerhouses who killed Duan Wei would be merciful to him. He is Xiao Tianxi? And Lan Ming, at this time, was horrified while suppressing his voice. Lan Ming, do you know the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu? Xueqi looked surprised. Duan Tian also looked at Lan Ming. But Lan Ming said with a solemn expression at this time, I heard an elder mention him. Said that he is an unparalleled genius and evildoer. In the past, after stepping into the realm of the strongest, whenever you enter a new realm, you will challenge the realm outside the realm, and even fellow practitioners from all over the world are people in the realm. In the process of Xion First Order to Third Order, he was finally recognized as invincible at the same order. Until he stepped into the fourth level Xion, he was just about to challenge the fourth level Xion strong in the four directions, but he was not successful in his apprenticeship and was defeated by a monster who was also the fourth level Xion. And that evildoer also stepped on the name of defeating him, and became famous outside the world, and even in the world. That enchanting monster has faced the challenges of many Xion Fourth Order powerhouses, but these people were all defeated by him without exception. In the end, this person is recognized as the first person under the semi-sacred place, and even the 10,000 worlds. Xiao Tianxi's limelight was completely covered by him. When Lan Ming said this, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. The person you said. At this time, the young man in genie next to him raised his brows. Is that the powerhouse of the god-defying realm Xiao Mubai, one of the 18 realms of the 10,000 realms? Xiao Mubai. This was also the first time Duan Tian had heard someone mention the names of people from the god-defying realm other than Time Sword in a place outside the world. For a time, his heart couldn't help but get a little excited. After all, whether it is the Sword of Time or Xiao Mubai, they are the seniors of his hometown, the god-defying realm. At this moment, he has a sense of hometown pride. He is also a person from the god-defying realm. Chapter 45:16. Duan Tian looked at the Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu. The same surname as Xiao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm, is also a genius. Before their god-defying realm made a big splash with the help of Xiao Mubai, he was famous in places beyond the world, and even in all realms. Until the fourth rank of Xion, he was defeated by Xiao Mubai. Of course, even if Xiao Tianxi was defeated by Xiao Mubai, Duan Tian didn't feel that this Xiao Tianxi was really weak. It was only weaker than Xiao Mubai. And, certainly not much difference. Hall Master Xiao is here. Suddenly, Xueqi's reminder came from Duan Lingshan's ear. At this time, Duan Lingkai discovered that, surrounded by Hu Mingyue, he was coming towards them from the sky, and he was in front of them in a blink of an eye. Duan Tian, this is the master of our Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, the master of Xiao Tianxi. At this time, Hu Mingyue looked at Duan Lingtian and said loudly, Dianzhu Xiao is here to meet you, a genius who has mastered the 6th order swordsmanship. 6th order kendo. Hu Mingyue's voice was so small that many people around him could hear it. For a time, a group of eyes gathered on Duan Lingtian's body from all directions, and their eyes were full of disbelief and shock. 6th order kendo? Moreover, is it still in existence under a supreme power? Real or fake? Of course, this question only exists in the blink of an eye. Since the top powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu have said so, then 9 times out of 10 this matter is true, because there is a high probability that the superpowers of Bibo Tianfu will not open their mouths. Duan Lingtian, I have seen Hall Master Xiao. Duan Lingtian bowed slightly to salute Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace in front of him. And Xueqi and other people standing beside him also bowed and saluted. Let me see your swordsmanship. How about you? Xiao Tianxi looked at Duan Lingtian, and with a slight smile, pointed it out. In an instant, a stream of light pierced through the sky and swept away straight towards Duan Lingtian. In an instant, Duan Lingtian could also feel that the impact contained in the stream of light was definitely enough to compare with his current full-strength strike. This is definitely the top offensive under the invincible upper god. He knew that Xiao Tianxi wanted to try him, but he didn't expect that Xiao Tianxi's control of power would reach such a superb level. Taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian did not hesitate, and immediately rose from the sky, carrying that stream of light into the sky. Then, the 7 orifices and exquisite swords came out from his hand. The space law of the small perfection realm was integrated into the divine power, and together with his swordsmanship, he met the streamer offensive pointed out by Xiao Tianxi. Call out! Duan Lingtian's sword, the colorful rays of light condensed, met the streamer, and instantly stalemate together. And then, in front of everyone's eyes, the 2 forces collided together, and a terrifying force suddenly erupted, and it was about to recoil at the nearest Duan Lingtian. Whoa! I saw Xiao Tianxi lifted up, invisible, as if there was a huge force falling from the sky, crushing the recoil force that was about to rush towards Duan Lingtian, enough to cause Duan Lingtian to be slightly injured. Thank you, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian repeatedly thanked him. Good. Xiao Tianxi, however, nodded to Duan Lingtian, and then said, after this trip to the ruins, can you be interested in entering the Bibo Tianfu and my Golden Dragon Palace? Xiao Tianxi sent an invitation to Duan Lingtian, and this invitation also shocked everyone around him. Even Hu Mingyue never expected that the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu would take the initiative to invite a young man to join Bibo Tianfu. You must know that in the past, this one has only actively invited 2 invincible high-ranking gods to enter the Bibo Tianfu and the Golden Dragon Palace. Except for those 2 times, no one was invited again. In the eyes of the Hall Master, can this Ling Tian be compared to the invincible superior god? Now, not only Hu Mingyue was shocked, but the senior officials of Bibo Tianfu, who were familiar with Xiao Tianxi, were also shocked. For a time, more eyes were focused on Duan Lingtian. The kendo geniuses present all looked at Duan Lingtian with envy and hatred. Listening to what the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, the first person under the sage of Bibo Tianfu, said that if Duan Lingtian entered Bibo Tianfu and the Golden Dragon Hall, he would probably immediately become his confidant. Duan Lingtian is honored. Duan Lingtian responded quickly. Bibo Tianfu's strongest semi-sage invited him. What reason did he have to refuse? With the strength of this person in Bibo Tianfu, it can be said that there is an existence under the saint and above 10,000 people. It is good. A smile appeared on Xiao Tianxi's face. From today onwards, you are the person of the Golden Dragon Palace that I, Xiao Tianxi, had. I, Xiao Tianxi, the palace master of the Golden Dragon Palace, give you the name, the Void Sword. Are you still satisfied? Xiao Tianxi asked with a smile. Void Sword. Name. Although the name is not something valuable, the name given by Xiao Tian has a completely different meaning. How much should Xiao Tianxi pay attention to before being given the title by Xiao Tianxi himself? Is it a direct disciple, nothing more than this? Thank you, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian repeatedly thanked him. Although he had no feelings for the name, since the Golden Dragon Palace Master gave such face, he naturally couldn't refute the other party's good intentions. And, it's also good for him. At least, when he entered Bibo Tianfu, his road in Bibo Tianfu would be much easier to walk. Having a backer and not having a backer are 2 completely different concepts. Ha ha! The Void Sword Duan Lingtian, I didn't know that before. Hall Master Xiao is so good at taking names. Hu Mingyue laughed, and in his words, he was not stingy about flattering Xiao Tianxi. Duan Lingtian, you don't need to go in the second batch. The third batch is here, you can go in together. Xiao Tianxi said to Duan Lingtian. Yes. Duan Lingtian responded quickly. As for Lan Ming and Xueqi, who had come with Duan Lingtian before, when they looked at Duan Lingtian again, there was nothing but envy in their eyes. You all came from the Duan clan at one time. You have become Bibo Tianfa's strongest half-sage confidant, but we are still the little transparent. Xiao Tianxi let Duan Lingtian enter the last batch again, and gave him the treatment of the kendo genius who entered the ruins at Bibo Tianfu this time. Brother Hu. Duan Lingtian sent a voice transmission to Hu Mingyue, who was standing behind Xiao Tianxi. He couldn't help but ask curiously, what is the rule that Hall Master Xiao is best at? And Hu Mingyue quickly gave him a response. Dianzhu Xiao is best at the law of death, and he has already entered the realm of great perfection. Secondly, the law of life, which is also close to the great perfection. The only thing missing is the four worlds. Palace Master Xiao is also good at swordsmanship. He is currently in the 5th rank. As long as he enters the 6th rank, he can be promoted to breakthrough and become a saint. As soon as Hu Mingyue said these words, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. It turned out that Xiao Tianxi was also good at the law of life. It seems that this Hall Master Xiao Tianxi has already seen that I am not young. One of the 4 ways of heaven and earth that he masters, is also the way of swordsmanship. Maybe it is also related to this? After all, geniuses are generally unconvincing, but they will still give some respect to those who can surpass themselves in a certain field. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also found the reason for Xiao Tianxi's attention. After a moment, Duan Lingtian came to Xiao Tianxi's side. Then, looking at the figures one after another, they came out of the land of return to the ruins. Soon, the first group of people, as long as they were still alive, came out. Palace Master Xiao, the statistics have been made. The first batch of people who entered lost 12 people. Soon, there was a powerhouse from Bibo Tianfu, who came to report to Xiao Tianxi after finishing the statistics. Okay. Xiao Tianxi's reaction was calm, as if he was not surprised at all. As for Duan Lingtian, deep in his heart at this moment, there were waves of stormy waves. He knew that based on the number of people in the second batch, the first batch of people must be between 30 and 40 people. 12 people died. Almost a third of it was lost. The death rate is too high. At the same time, the expressions of the second batch of kendo geniuses also changed after hearing the loss rate. Chapter 45:17. Such a high loss rate. Many kendo geniuses have the intention of retreating after hearing about the loss rate. However, when a few people proposed to withdraw, the one who responded to them was the extremely cold gaze of the most powerful person in Bibo Tianfu. As if telling them, if you dare to quit now, there is only one dead end. Humph. A kendo genius snorted coldly. What are you afraid of? Wealth and wealth are in danger. Which one is not in danger? If you are even afraid of this kind of danger, you are not worthy of being strong. The land of return to the ruins is indeed dangerous. However, there are not many places to return to the ruins with such a high loss rate. However, as this kendo genius opened his mouth, all those kendo geniuses who had the intention of retreating suddenly looked remorseful. They never thought that they would be greedy for life and fear of death in front of a place with many opportunities to return to the ruins. They have been able to get to this day, and they have gone through countless difficulties, and they have also experienced many scenes of life and death. Are they really afraid of death? Not necessarily. It can be said that the words of this kendo genius woke them up. This person, kendo, is at the 5th level. When Duan Lingtian looked at the kendo genius who was speaking, not far from him, the voice transmission of Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu, also entered his ears in a timely manner. However, he is much older than you. Among the kendo geniuses present, apart from you, he should be the strongest. Hearing Xiao Tianxi's words, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but glance at the other party. However, I saw that this was a young man in a black robe, with an ordinary appearance and an angry eyebrow, giving people a feeling of not being angry and self-proud, standing there, standing straight like a sharp sword. Okay. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian found that the other party seemed to sense that he was looking at him, and also looked at him, and there was obviously a strong fighting intent in his eyes. Facing the fighting intent in the opponent's eyes, Duanling Tian just looked at him, nodded lightly and smiled. Then he looked back. This man, wouldn't he think he was provoking? Soon, the last time for the first group of people to come out has arrived. Those who came out alive handed in their vows. Then there is the supreme power of Bibo Tianfu to take them away. The people who took them away were the 3 superpowers who brought them here before, and while taking them away, they said, "This time I will take you to Bibo Tianfu. If you get what we want in Bibo Tianfu, you can do it all. Select some corresponding treasures in our Bibo Tianfu. If you don't get what we want from Bibo Tianfu, everything you gain from this trip will belong to you." Soon, the first group of people who came out alive followed the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu to leave. And half a day passed. Following the indifferent voice of the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, "Xiao Tianxi, go in." Immediately, under the guidance of Hu Mingyue and other 3 Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses, a group of kendo geniuses, including Lan Ming and Xueqi who came with Duanling Tian, entered the place of return to the ruins together. "Duanling Tian, I really envy you, being valued by Hall Master Shouds. After I come out this time, if I have a chance to enter the Bibo Tianfu, you have to cover me." Before Xueqi went in, when he transmitted the voice to Duanling Tian, his tone was a little more flattering and flattering. After the sound transmission, he followed the others into the place of return to the ruins. For a time, there were only 6 people left outside. The 3 Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses who brought Duanling Tian and the other second group over. Duanling Tian. There was also Xiao Tianxi, and the gray-robed old man behind Xiao Tianxi who had never spoken. The gray-robed old man, following behind Xiao Tianxi, was like a shadow, following him like a shadow. His face was calm, and there was no turbulence from beginning to end. Duanling Tian couldn't help but wonder if this person was paralyzed. "You 3 wait outside." Following Xiao Tianxi's words, he raised his hand, took Duanling Tian, and left with the old man behind him. Duanling Tian has not recovered yet. When he opened his eyes again, he found that he had come to a vast and boundless world. This piece of heaven and earth is boundless, and at a glance, it seems that there is no end in sight. And just when Duanling Tian wondered where he had been brought, Xiao Tianxi's voice had entered his ears in a timely manner. "This is the small world inside my body. Elder Kong, he is also good at space law. His space law many years ago stepped into the realm of great perfection. Before the third group of people enter the land of returning ruins, you will be here and practice the laws of space with Lao Lao. In your spare time, you can also show your kendo and show me how to. My kendo is only half a step away from the 6th rank, but this half step has not advanced for many years." After Xiao Tianxi said these words, Duanling Tian also knew what the other party meant. The other party wants to observe his kendo. Of course, it won't let him suffer. The other party also arranged for a strong man who mastered the laws of space in the realm of great perfection to instruct him on the laws of space. Ka. As if a gust of wind blew, followed closely, an aged figure appeared in front of Duanling Tian. At this time, Duanling Tian also recognized the other party. Isn't that the old man in gray robe who stood behind Xiao Tianxi earlier? At that time, he also felt that the other party was like a facial paralysis. He is a superpower who has mastered the spatial laws of the great perfection? Duanling Tian secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. The most powerful person who has mastered the laws of space in the realm of great perfection, even if his attainment in the 4 realms of heaven and earth is very general, and he has not even stepped into the 4th rank, he is at least the existence of the 4th rank of the strongest. The 4th order Xian is also close to the semi-holy existence. Go all out. Use your swordsmanship to match your space laws. The gray-robed old man opened his mouth, but his expression didn't change when he spoke, making people look like that paralyzed face. I will try my best to control my strength to a level similar to yours. Of course, I won't keep it when it comes to displaying the laws of space. Hearing the other party's words, Duanling Tian couldn't help but feel excited. He knows. This is definitely a great opportunity for him. Although in his hands, there is no shortage of floating shadow mirrors that have realized the existence of the law of space to the realm of great perfection, but after all, it is a floating shadow mirror, which can only be observed and cannot be experienced in person. And now, a living powerhouse who has comprehended the laws of space to the realm of great perfection, stands in front of him, and wants to give him pointers. This is undoubtedly a pointer to get twice the result with half the effort. The help of the floating shadow mirror to him is insignificant in the face of this kind of guidance. Thank you, Senior. Duanling Tian looked solemn, and bowed respectfully to the gray-robed old man. For him, this is a great blessing. Even though he knew that this was a deal, the transaction between him and the Golden Dragon Hall Master Xueqi exchanged his kendo perception for the perception of the laws of space. However, he knew that this was his advantage. He believed that, as Xueqi, it was not so difficult to observe the sixth-order swordsmanship of others. Even a strong sage might give him some face and betray others. And he Duanling Tian, wanting to comprehend the laws of space to the existence of the Great Perfection Realm, and pointing him while fighting with him, is undoubtedly more difficult than going to the sky. Now, such an opportunity is in front of him. How could he not be excited? This is a surefire deal. My law of space has not advanced for a long time. This time, it may be an opportunity. Only by going a step further can we continue to move towards the realm of great perfection. He now has mastered the sword Dao of the four ways of heaven and earth, and has comprehended the sixth order level. As long as he comprehends the laws of space to the state of perfection, he will become the leader of the invincible superior gods in one fell swoop. If you break through and become the strongest, he is directly a saint who is stronger than the current Xueqi. Xueqi, as a leader among the semi-sages, while comprehending the law of death to the realm of great perfection, the level of the kendo of the four ways of heaven and earth is still at the fifth level. As long as his swordsmanship reaches the sixth rank, he has taken the most crucial step and can be directly promoted to become a saint powerhouse. Chapter 45:18. The old man Xueqi called Empty Old Man quickly moved. As soon as he made his move, the surrounding space shook, as if he had turned into of space, leaping from one end of the space to the other, appearing when Duanling Tian. It's not teleportation, but it's comparable to teleportation. So strong. This is the space law of the great perfection? Duanling Tian trembled in his heart, and at the same time subconsciously wanted a teleport to leave the place. But he didn't do it, because he knew that Kong Lao must have disturbed the space and made him unable to teleport. Call out! Without any hesitation, the divine power on Duanling Shen's body rose, and the laws of space converged, condensing a dazzling sword light, turning into a human sword, turning around and beheading Kong Lao. When this sword was swung, the world seemed to change color, and the sword glow that covered the sky seemed to be able to crush everything in the world. What a powerful swordsmanship! Kong Lao exclaimed. I saw that he faced Duanling Shen's strike that was like a combination of human and sword, and the figure continued to become illusory on the face, making Duanling Shen's sword completely empty. However, Old Kong was still constantly approaching Duanling Tian while his figure changed. This also made Duanling Tian feel the pressure. The space law of the great perfection is indeed very strong. Now, this veteran Kong's own supreme divine power has been suppressed to a level comparable to that of the superior gods. But, with the space law of the great perfection, even if he does not use any of the four worlds, his strength is still better than mine. His current strength should be comparable to that of the invincible upper god. In an instant, Duanling Tian already had enough pressure. At the same time, I couldn't help but curse in my heart. This old guy, didn't he mean to control his strength to be similar to mine? This is clearly comparable to the strength of the invincible upper god Venerable. It's almost called? Although his current strength is not far from the invincible superior god Venerable, as long as the laws of space and kendo do not break through, he will not be able to reach that realm in one day. Call out! The sword Qi is vertical and horizontal, and Duanling Tian comes with a sword that turns around. The sword light is dazzling, as if it can tear apart all spaces and destroy all falsehoods in the void. In addition, Duanling Shen's figure suddenly arched and exerted force at this time, almost unreservedly. In addition to useless weapons, completely unreserved shot. Humph! With a cold snort in his heart, Duanling Tian turned his body into a sword, caught up with Lao Lao in a blink of an eye, and pierced his body. However, when this sword hole passed through, he found out that this was not Kong Lao's true body at all. The state of the great perfection of the law of space represents the complete mastery of the mystery of the law of space. As long as I can use the power of the surrounding space, in this space, I will be an invincible existence. Kong Lao's voice seemed to come from all directions. Your strength is very strong. If I don't control my divine power to a level comparable to that of the upper gods, I can't be your opponent. Now, I will keep my strength at the level of the invincible superior god, so that I can be sure not to be defeated by you. Kong Lao said the reason why he did not continue to push down the strength. No way. His heaven and earth are not strong, If he further suppresses divine power, even if he uses all the means, it is impossible to comprehend the laws of space to the realm of small perfection and master the sixth layer of Kendo Duanlingshan's opponent. Unless your divine power is enough to suppress my divine power, so that I have no time to use the power of the surrounding space. Kong Lao, in a word, also said the powerful reason for the invincible superior god. This is also the reason why the invincible upper gods are invincible under the strongest, but even the weakest and the strongest can defeat them. Power suppression. Both are high-ranking gods, everyone's divine power is at the same level. How can we talk about who suppresses whom? Kong Lao shot again. Boom! Boom! Above Duanlingshan's head, Kong Lao's figure appeared, and a palm shot out, as if covering the sky and sun. The closer to Duanlingtian, the larger the palm print. It's like rising against the wind. Humph! Duanlingtian let out a low snort and wanted to dodge away. But he found that no matter how he escaped, a huge palm print would appear above his head, rising in the wind. It seems that if you don't shoot him to death, you will not let go of the palm prints. Let him have nowhere to run. Then touch it. After discovering that he could not escape the shrouded range of the palm print, Duanlingtian was also ruthless. His whole body was shaking with divine power, and the power of the law was displayed, condensing into a sword in his hand. The sword came out, the situation was turbulent, and the palm print fell from the sky. Call out! Boom! The swords and palms slammed into each other, and the terrifying power shock caused Duanlingtian to feel an unprecedented pressure, as if his internal organs were violently shaken. His throat was even sweeter, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The old man is merciful. Just when Xiao Tianxi sent a voice transmission to Lao Lao and asked him to show mercy, Lao Lao stopped his hand. I saw that Duanlingtian, who had just spit out a mouthful of blood in the void, with a pale face, his eyes that were a little dazed, suddenly gathered together. Then, facing the palm print above the void, that had not collapsed and continued to press down, he murmured, "So it is. It's no wonder that my kendo is difficult to go further." Sword, not only the sword in the hand is a sword, nor is the sword that condenses divine power a sword. The power of space can be a sword. The law of space can also be a sword. The law of time is also a sword. The law of life is also a sword. While Duanlingtian murmured in a low voice, around his body, a law clone suddenly appeared. There are those entangled with the power of space, the power of time covering the body, and the power of life shrouded. Suddenly, Duanlingshan's deity, and the surroundings of these law clones, suddenly appeared one after another bright sword light, and the sword light became more and more powerful. And then, Elder Kong, please continue. Duanlingtian greeted Kong Lao, and he could see that Kong Lao was closing his hands. It is good. At this time, Elder Kong also saw that Duanlingtian seemed to have fallen into a state of comprehension. Sword up. Duanlingtian murmured, and suddenly the countless sword lights around the body of the deity and the avatar of the law gathered together and roared toward the palm print falling from the sky. Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Wan Jian lifted off into the sky, like a meteor turning around, leaving a beautiful scene in the air, and then collided with the palm print that fell from the sky. In an instant. Boom! Boom! The aftermath of the terrifying power spread out, but Duanlingtian, on the other hand, was standing there, unscathed, with sword chi filling the sky, turbulent purple robes on his body, an indomitable figure like a sword. Sharp! Kong Lao's palm print was also annihilated when Wan Jian was lifted into the sky. In an instant, the fight between the two was evenly matched and ended in a draw. Duanlingtian, you actually touched the threshold of the 7th rank of Kendo. At the same time, a figure appeared. It was the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, Xiao Tianxi. At this time, Xiao Tianxi was no longer as serious as before, and when he looked at Duanlingtian again, he obviously lost his temper. The strength you just showed has already entered the ranks of the invincible upper gods. The upper gods, the law is small and perfect, and if you touch the threshold of the 7th stage of the 4 paths of heaven and earth, you can also become an invincible upper god. That is, the current Duanlingtian already has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god Venerable. Invincible upper god Venerable? Duanlingshan's eyes also lit up in an instant. Just now, he just felt that his perception of Kendo has taken another step forward, and his strength seems to have improved a little, but there is no concept of how much. Now, when he heard Xiao Tianxi's words, he was very excited. Invincible upper gods. This also means that when he enters Bibo Tianfu, He will have the opportunity to meet with the saints and powerhouses of Bibo Xianfu, and may even be important to the saints and powerhouses. In this case, it is absolutely possible to ask the strong sage to take action to dispel the imprisonment of his wife Kier. Chapter 45:19. Thank you, Kong Lao. Thank you, Hallmaster. Duan Lingtian stood in the void, suppressed the excitement in his heart, and bowed his hands to thank the old man and Xiao Tianxi. He is very clear. Although he can get to this point normally. However, it takes time and opportunity. But today, because of Xiao Tianxi's whim, he had the opportunity to come this far. Perhaps, Xiao Tianxi's original intention was just to watch his swordsmanship, so as to improve his own swordsmanship. However, now it is true that he has gotten more benefits. If your swordsmanship enters the 7th rank, there are probably few people who can be your opponents among the invincible high-ranking gods. Kong Lao, it is rare to say so much at one time. And Xiao Tianxi nodded in agreement. Duan Lingtian, if you take this step, you have truly entered the outer world, and even the top inner circle of myriad realms. Invincible high-ranking gods, in any sage power, are the existence of sweet pastry, more precious than the average supreme power. You have stepped into this realm now, and then entered our Bibo Tianfu. What I thought of asking the palace master to give you can also be overturned. With your strength you can get better things. Xiao Tianxi said. Even as long as you stay in Bibo Tianfu for a certain amount of time, or make a certain contribution to Bibo Tianfu. You can even ask our ancestor of the sage of Bibo Tianfu to make a move for you. Duan Lingtian listened calmly to what Xiao Tianxi said earlier. Until Xiao Tianxi said that, Duan Lingtian could no longer contain his excitement. Although his face remained the same, the glittering light in his eyes could not deceive anyone. Duan Lingtian. Xiao Tianxi looked at Duan Lingtian again. The original majesty was no longer, replaced by a bit of embarrassment. Just now, watching you use kendo, there are a lot of doubts. But I don't know, is it convenient to explain? After all, it is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace who is aloof in Bibo Tianfu. He takes the initiative to ask the younger generation for doubts. For him, he needs to bear a lot of psychological pressure. I would like to serve the hall master. Duan Lingtian responded repeatedly. He had already organized the language in his mind just now, and was going to ask Xiao Tianxi if he wanted to continue practicing kendo. Unexpectedly, Xiao Tianxi brought it up first. Naturally, he couldn't pass up such an opportunity to return the favor. The first group of people recruited by Bibo Tianfu broke a lot in the return to the ruins that was opened this time. The second group of people entered and continued to contribute to Bibo Tianfu. At the same time, it also explores the path for the genius powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu. In the Bibo Tianfu, there are still some invincible upper gods who have cultivated swordsmanship to the 4th rank. Of course, most of them are good at laws and only comprehend the small perfection realm. The strongest is only close to the invincible upper god. However, one of them is close to the realm of great perfection because of the law of destruction he is good at. Plus he has comprehended the 4th order swordsmanship and his special blood power. His strength, placed in Bibo Tianfu, is also the strongest under the invincible superior god. He is also one of the few top geniuses in the Bibo Tianfu who can compare with Duan Lingtian, according to Hu Mingyue, the powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu who brought Duan Lingtian here. Yao Xingchen. This time, the trip to the ruins opened by Bibo Tianfu. Yao Xingchen is also on the list of Bibo Tianfu's trip. He is the strongest among the people in Bibo Tianfu. Of course, not the strongest among the people sent by Bibo Tianfu. Because, this time, Bibo Tianfu found an invincible upper who had practiced swordsmanship to the 4th rank outside, and mastered the laws of the golden system to the state of great perfection. However, he is only a foreign aide of Bibo Tianfu, not a disciple of Bibo Tianfu. Among the disciples sent by Bibo Tianfu this time, Yao Xingchen is still the strongest. Bibo Tianfu. In a quiet courtyard, a young man in black with a stern face was sitting in front of the stone table, looking at another young man in green across the table. What are you doing with me? This young man in black is Yao Xingchen. As for the youth in Xueqi, it was Yao Xingchen's half-brother, Yao Tianchen. Yao Tianchen, who was also found by Bibo Tianfu this time, realized the swordsmanship to the 4th order invincible superior god. In Bibo Tianfu, although there are also invincible superior gods, but because they are not good at swordsmanship, they can't enter the place of return to the ruins open this time. Xingchen, I'm your eldest brother. Is that how you talk to your eldest brother? The youth in Xueqi, Yao Tianchen, looked at his younger brother, Yao Xingchen, with a playful smile. You are also worthy of saying that you are my eldest brother? Yao Xingchen sneered. Yao Tianchen, you and I have long been strangers, so there is no need to act like a brother. Back then, if it wasn't for my luck, I would have died in your hands indirectly. Yao Tianchen, although he is his half-brother by blood, the relationship between the two is not very good. Even Yao Tianchen was jealous of his talent back then. In order to gain the only favor in front of his father, he even planned to kill him. Later, because he had no evidence, his father didn't believe him, so he had no choice but to let it go. It was also that time that he planted the seeds of resentment, so that he ran away from home and joined Bibo Tianfu, which was more powerful than their Yao family. The Yao family is just a semi-holy force. However, because the Yao family has a semi-sacred powerhouse who can kill ordinary semi-sacred people, Yao clan is the strongest among the semi-sacred forces in the Thunder Holy Land. Second only to the power of the saints. Dear brother, wasn't it because you were better than me? Yao Tianchen was still laughing. Now, my golden rules are perfect, I have surpassed you, and I have become an invincible superior god. In addition, my father and even the clan have designated me as the only heir of the clan leader. You are no longer a threat to me. Let our brothers go back to the past. How about living in harmony? The current Yao Tianchen looks like a smiling tiger no matter what. Yao Xingchen sneered. Yao Tianchen, don't think I don't know what you're up to. You just don't want to set up my enemy. Today here, I can also tell you clearly. You and I have long been strangers. For the sake of my father and the blood relationship between you and me, I will not pursue that incident again. See you later, Quan, when I don't know you. Now you can leave. Yao Xingchen immediately issued an eviction order. And Yao Tianchen also stood up and smiled slightly. Since my brother doesn't want to see my brother so much, then he'll go first. Well, see you when we go to the return to the ruins after a while. When the words fell, Yao Tianchen turned and left. However, in the moment of turning around, his eyes flashed with an extremely cold light. Even in the depths of his eyes, there was a bit of killing intent. My heart is even colder. Yao Xingchen, for the sake of your blood relationship, I gave you a chance. Since you don't know what's wrong, then I can only kill you to avoid future troubles. You are not as strong as me now, and you have no status in Bibo Tianfu. It is difficult to embarrass me. But if you catch up with me in strength in the future, and gain a certain position in Bibo Tianfu, the situation you and I are in today may be reversed. At that time, you can still be like today and say you won't pursue that incident back then? The current Yao Tianchen has the idea of cutting the grass and eradicating the roots. The land of return to the ruins this time is your desperate brother. My dear brother, cherish and enjoy this last time. When you enter that place of return to the ruins, you will have no future to speak of. Yao Tianchen is clear about his younger brother Yao Xingchen's talent. Although their accomplishments in Kendo are all fourth order, he has only recently broken through, and his younger brother has been invading fourth order for many years, and may step into fifth order at any time. As for the rules, if his younger brother Yao Xingchen hadn't studied the law of destruction, if it were replaced by the law of the 5 elements, he would have been consummated long ago. There is even a high probability that he will enter the great perfection earlier than him. Because of this, thinking that he had murdered his younger brother Yao Xingchen back then, he did not dare to let this younger brother grow up. Because once he grows up, it is likely to become his later trouble. If his younger brother comprehends the law of destruction to the realm of great perfection, his strength will definitely be stronger than him. In addition, behind his younger brother is the giant Bibo Tianfu. No matter what, he has to get rid of it first. Chapter 45-20. In the blink of an eye. A year has passed. The second group of people also came out one after another. The 2 people who were brought from the Duan clan by Hu Mingyue, the powerhouse of Bibo Tianfu, along with Duan Ling Tian, only Lan Ming came out. Xueqi, that outgoing guy, didn't come out until the last moment. Xueqi is definitely gone. Lan Ming, who was standing beside Duan Ling Tian, said in a deep voice. Then, before he left, he reminded Duan Ling Tian a few more words. If you are not sure of passing some of the tests left by the owner of the returning ruins in that place, don't force it. If it's too hard, you might get hurt. Once you get hurt, you won't be able to deal with any dangers that come next. Lan Ming walked all the way, and there was not much to say. Now he can say so much which is very rare. In particular, it was still reminding Duan Ling Tian. Clear. Duan Ling Tian nodded, his face became slightly solemn, and then asked, "Are you planning to go back, or try to stay in Bibo Tianfu?" "Go for it." Lan Ming smiled bitterly and said, "I'm not like you, the enchanting evildoer who has been favored by the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. If you want to stay in Bibo Tianfu, you can only try your luck. There must be a lot of people who come this time who also want to stay in Bibo Tianfu. Although, most of the people who were brought to explore the ruins this time were loose cultivators who were found by major forces. However, they would be very happy if they could join the sealing forces in the outside world like Bibo Tianfu." When Lan Ming and others were sent away, the third group has also arrived. The second batch of people had a lower loss rate than the first batch. Obviously, the lessons learned by the first batch of people also made them take a lot less detours. Before the arrival of the third group of people, Duan Ling Tian already knew. More than half of this group of people are geniuses of Bibo Tianfu. Although, there may be only a dozen peoples. But, after all, it is to meet the conditions of the fourth rank of Kendo, and it only needs to exist below the strongest. Under such circumstances, it is very rare to find more than a dozen people in Bibo Tianfu. You must know that even among the hundreds of geniuses in Bibo Tianfu, it is not possible to find two existences who have cultivated to the fourth rank of swordsmanship. There are 4 kinds of heaven and earth. And Kendo is just a branch of the way of weapons. When the third group of people came, Duan Lingshan's gaze couldn't help but swept over them. When some geniuses of Bibo Tianfu knew that Duan Ling Tian had been invited into the Golden Dragon Hall by Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of their Bibo Tianfu, they couldn't help looking at him for a while. In these eyes, there is envy, jealousy, and hatred. More dissatisfaction. However, Duan Ling Tian didn't care either. He has never been someone who looks at other people's faces. What? Suddenly, Duan Ling Tian discovered that among the third group of people, there were 2 people with similar appearances, but they did not stand together, but were separated by a long distance. Looks like brothers. But looking at where they stand, it's like they don't know each other at all. Should just look alike. It's really big in the world. There are no wonders. Bibo Tianfu is looking for a genius powerhouse of the 4th rank of Kendo, and can find 2 people who are so similar. And at this time, in Duan Lingshan's ear, a voice transmission from Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, came. "Duan Lingtian, have you seen those 2 similar people?" When Duan Ling Tian heard Xiao Tianxi's voice transmission, he quickly responded. He knew that since Xiao Tianxi asked him this question, there must be something else to say. "I just received a message from one of my senior brothers from Bibo Tianfu. Let me say hello to you. If you encounter the person on the right in the land of return to the ruins and want to attack the person on the left, be sure to help. Hit him." My senior brother said that he is willing to give back a favor. My senior brother is also a semi-sage of Bibo Tianfu. After that, Xiao Tianxi added, "Palace Master, what is this? What's the situation?" Duan Ling Tian is a little puzzled. Isn't it all his own? How can you still get a black hand in there? The man on the left, named Yao Xingchen, is a close disciple of my senior brother, and his strength is not weaker than you before the breakthrough a few months ago. He is a high-ranking god, and he can step into the 5th rank of swordsmanship immediately. The law of destruction that he is good at is also close to the realm of great perfection. Hearing Xiao Tianxi's words, Duan Ling Tian glanced at the young man named Yao Xingchen, but he didn't expect this person to be so powerful. But since the opponent is so powerful, why should he be afraid of the other person? Is it possible? Suddenly, a thought appeared in Duan Lingshan's mind. Is that person an invincible upper god? And then what Xiao Tianxi said to him also verified his conjecture. The man on the right, named Yao Tianchen, is the foreign aide that our Bibo Tianfu has recruited this time. He is from the Yao family in Jianshan, and he is an invincible high-ranking god. His golden law is perfect, and his swordsmanship has also entered the 4th level. He is Yao Xingchen's half-brother. All members of the Yao family cultivate swords, but all members of the Yao family are sword cultivators. My senior brother said that in order to prevent his younger brother Yao Xingchen from being able to compete with him for the patriarch's seat, Yao Tianchen tried to kill Yao Xingchen. Yao Xingchen was lucky. He was lucky enough to escape, and later moved into our Bibo Tianfu. He was favored by my senior brother and became my senior brother's close disciple. This time, my apprentice brother refused to invite Yao Tianchen's But Yao Tianchen didn't know where he got the news, so he took the initiative to come to the door and said he would help us Bibo Tianfu go to the returning market to find what we want. Things. The rest of the senior management agreed to him. My brother thinks that his purpose is not that simple, and he may even attack Yao Xingchen inside. Because Yao Xingchen's talent is very high, if he does not die prematurely, it will be a matter of time before the law of destruction wants to enter the realm of great perfection. Sword Dao, sooner or later, will be able to enter the 5th rank. After Xiao Tianxi said this, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. At the same time, the gaze that looked at Yao Tianchen became a lot more indifferent. For the position of the patriarch, even his own younger brother must be murdered. Such behavior disgusts him. If I had a younger brother, I would never drag him into the water even if I was in danger myself, let alone hurt him for profit. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Yao Xingchen sighed. My senior brother and I didn't say hello to him. Because he is very arrogant, if we said we would ask you to take care of him, he would definitely refuse, even after entering the land of return to the ruins, seeing you stay away. Hearing Xiao Tianxi's next words, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but be speechless. Isn't that arrogant? It's called courting death. Invincible upper god. Can he deal with it? Does he have no points in his heart? This time, the third group of people entered the land of return to the ruins. It was presided over by Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. After the people handed in their acceptance rings, Xiao Tianxi also instructed the other 3 senior officials of Bibo Tianfu present to issue new acceptance rings to Duan Lingtian and others. After these accept rings, after they come out, they must be handed in. In this way, even if the person who goes in gets any treasure, unless it is used inside, once it is brought out, it cannot be hidden. Everyone already knew this. Therefore it is not excluded. Come in. As Xiao Tianxi opened his mouth, one after another figure stepped into the place of returning to the ruins. And Duan Lingtian also followed the crowd in. Chapter 45-21. As Duan Lingtian's eyes darkened and lit up, he discovered that he and the group of people who came in appeared in a vast open space. Looking around, it was all white, blocked by mist. I don't even know what's behind the fog. However, the first group and the second group came to explore the way first, and said something, which was recorded in the memory jade slip and sent to them, so that they could avoid many detours. Behind them, a space vortex is suspended there, which is obviously the exit of the land of return to the ruins. According to the words of the first group of people who came in and went out, when they first came in, a voice told them that there is 1 entrance to the land of return to the ruins, and 9 exits. After the 9 exits go out, there is a single entrance. Outside. The only entrance that came in should be this. As for going out, in addition to this opening, there are other half options. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Now, 31 people, including Duan Lingtian, have all come in. However, as soon as they came in, someone came up to chat with Duan Lingtian. I heard that your name is Duan Lingtian? You come from the Duan clan below the Tourmaline Holy City? Has the swordsmanship reached the 6th level? Duan Lingtian, is your swordsmanship really at the 6th level? Show it to us? In my impression, there are only saints who have practiced swordsmanship to the 6th stage. Duan Lingtian, you didn't deliberately make false reports to make Hall Master Xiao mistakenly believe that you were invited to enter our Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Hall, right? Now, the people who are approaching the front are obviously the geniuses and powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu. Because only they can know these things. However, the current Duan Lingtian ignored them. He saw that Yao Xingchen was the first to leave. Not long after Yao Xingchen left, Yao Tianchen also left and followed. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian felt helpless for a while. I know, it's not a good job to promise Xiao Hall Master. Just came in front of so many people, Yao Tianchen didn't dare to do it. Now, seeing Yao Xingchen leave alone, he also found an opportunity. Because of this, Duan Lingtian didn't pay attention to the group of geniuses from Bibo Tianfu who came forward, and left directly behind Yao Tianchen, followed by distance. Seeing that Duan Lingtian just left, a group of geniuses in Bibo Tianfu were a little stunned. Obviously they didn't expect that Duan Lingtian would not give them face like this. This Lingtian is so arrogant? Completely ignore people? Do you really think you are an invincible superior god? It's so arrogant. Look at it. Even if this person enters our Bibo Tianfu and enters the Golden Dragon Palace, it won't be long before he must die. Duan Ling Tian did not hear the words of a group of geniuses from the Bibo Tianfu behind. Even if you hear it, you won't care. Now he is following behind Yao Tianchen, and now Yao Tianchen is following Yao Xingchen. However, after all, it is the invincible superior god. Yao Tianchen soon discovered Duan Lingshen's tracking, stopped, turned his head suddenly, and looked at Duan Ling Tian like electricity. Boy, what are you doing with me? In Yao Tianchen's eyes, a cold light flickered. The young man in purple clothed in front of him, he also heard outside just now, is a top genius who has cultivated to the 6th rank in Kendo. For this kind of genius, he was extremely jealous in his heart. You must know that even if they are all sword cultivators in the Yao family, in the long history of the Yao family, no one can step into the 6th rank of Kendo, and at most they will step into the peak of the 5th rank of Kendo. That one was also the strongest semi-sage in the history of their Yao clan. However, after all, it cannot resist the erosion of the years, and under the 10,000-year catastrophe of the more and more powerful supreme power, it will be wiped out. Now, the 2 semi-sages of their Yao clan have also cultivated Kendo to the 5th level. The land of returning to the ruins is so big. Why do you say I'm following you? Duan Ling Tian said lightly. Don't follow me anymore. Yao Tianchen gave Duan Ling Tian a warning look, and said in a cold voice, otherwise, I will kill you. The voice fell, and he continued to follow Yao Xingchen. He doesn't think that if he really wants to make a move, the person in front of him can be his opponent, and he even has a certain degree of certainty to kill the opponent. However, he had to use the whole card left to Yao Xingchen. If he didn't have that trump card with his strength, although he could defeat the existence of the same level as Yao Xingchen in front of him, it would still be difficult to kill the opponent. Especially if you want to kill each other without disturbing others, it is almost impossible. Once there is too much movement, if he can't kill the others, as long as one person goes out and spreads the news, he will die when he goes out. There is not only one exit in this place of return to the ruins. Therefore, he had to think carefully. Moreover, once he starts now, there must be no small movement. Yao Xingchen will also notice it, and even become vigilant. In that case, it would be even more difficult for him to kill Yao Xingchen. Kill me. Duan Ling Tian smiled lightly. Then, as if you didn't hear the other party's words, continue to follow the other party. Yao Tianchen also quickly discovered Duan Lingshen's follow-up again. His face turned ashen, he stopped again, and stared at Duan Ling Tian coldly. Boy, what are you trying to do? Are you challenging my tolerance limit? In Yao Tianchen's eyes, the killing intent was awe-inspiring. The divine power on his body oscillated, the faint golden light gradually solidified, and the 5 sharp swordsman's aura spread out. I heard that you are an invincible upper god? Duan Ling Tian still had a faint smile on his face, and asked bluntly. That's right. Yao Tianchen said proudly. So, I advise you to stop following me. Otherwise, I will kill you. Although it is difficult, it is not impossible. You are an unparalleled genius in the Tourmaline Holy City, but in my Yao Tianchen's eyes, that's what it is. Yao Tianchen does have his proud capital. He was the first among the younger generation of the Yao family to comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection. Otherwise, he would not be designated as the next patriarch of the Yao family. It's enough to be an invincible upper god. Duan Ling Tian nodded, and then the divine power began to swept up from his body. He looked at Yao Tianchen again, with a little more fighting intent. How about a fight with me? I've been holding back for months. Since Kendo touched the 7th order threshold, Duan Ling Tian never made a move. Because, there is no chance to make a move. At that time all the people present were a group of superpowers, and they really wanted to fight him, but they also completely abused him. Now, it is difficult to have an opponent. Moreover, he is still an invincible high-ranking who is good at Kendo. He too was eager to try. Chapter 45-22. Is it just you, worthy of self-proclaimed sun and moon? Yao Tianchen thought that after the other party confirmed that he was the invincible superior god, he would definitely retreat. Who would have thought that after knowing that he was an invincible high-ranking god, the other party would take the initiative to initiate an invitation to learn from each other? Discussion? Although he didn't expect it in his heart, on the surface, Yao Tianchen didn't show it. Instead, he smiled coldly. What Yao Tianchen cultivates is the method of killing. Let's learn from each other. I don't understand, and I want. If you really want to fight me, you will be dead. You think about it. In his opinion, he said that for this sake, the person in front of him should always retreat, right? After all, he is an invincible upper god. What is the invincible upper god? Under the strongest existence, the invincible existence. However, what the purple-clothed youth said next made him even more unexpected. Death to life. It's also okay. As long as you are happy. Duan Lingtian smiled slightly, and the smile was harmless to humans and animals, but when it fell into Yao Tianshan's eyes, it seemed extraordinarily hateful. Boy, are you sure you want to fight me? Thinking that Yao Xingchen is probably far away from the front now, and may even be about to leave the range that he can track. He is so anxious for a while that he has no intention to stay here for a long time. Invincible upper god. Is there so much nonsense? Duan Lingtian frowned, a little impatient. Humph. Yao Tianshan snorted coldly. Boy, if you want to decide between life and death with me, after you go out, you and I will decide between life and death. I want to show those superpowers of Bibo Tianfu and the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. The person he likes is vulnerable in front of me, Yao Tianshan. As for now, I still have business. I don't have time to play with you. The words fell, and Yao Tianshan's body flashed with golden light, like a golden meteor, swept away into the distance. However, he just flew out a distance, but stopped in an instant. Only because Duan Lingtian appeared on his way, and hugged the Qiqiao Linglong sword, looking at him with a smile. If you don't fight me, don't even think about finding what you want in this ruined land. Thing. Why does Yao Tianshan not want to fight? How could he not know? I just wanted to hunt down Yao Xingchen. To help Yao Xingchen, he agreed to Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace. Now, he really wants to discuss with Yao Tianshan. Simply the best of both worlds. Under such circumstances, how could Yao Tianshan run away? As for Yao Tianshan, who was stopped by Duan Lingtian repeatedly and twice, his face was extremely ugly for a while, and he was really angry. At the same time, he also knew that if he didn't fight the person in front of him, it would be difficult to get rid of him. If you fight, kill the opponent, you don't have much confidence. However, defeating the opponent is 100% sure. His heart was extremely cold. Today, I will leave the trump card to Yao Xinghe. For the time being, I just want to defeat this short-sighted guy and let him retreat. After I go out, I will find a chance to kill him. Yao Tianshan already had killing intent towards Duan Lingtian in his heart. Humph. With a cold snort, Yao Tianshan stared at Duan Lingtian indifferently. Boy, since you want to fight me, I will do it for you. It's good for you to know. Even if your strength is very close to the invincible upper god, but in front of me, the invincible upper god, you are like the light of rice grains, vulnerable to a single blow. The stars are never able to compete with the sun and the moon. Yao Tianshan's voice fell. His body was raging with golden light, and there was an extra sword in his hand. The whole body was dark, and it exuded an incomparable aura. It was obviously his supreme artifact. In front of Duan Lingtian, who holds the supreme artifact, he didn't dare to care. Hearing Yao Tianshan's words, Duan Lingtian smiled. Xingchen, naturally, it will never be able to compete with the sun and the moon. Only. Just you, are you worthy of calling yourself the sun and moon? When the voice fell, Duan Lingshan's mouth also had a sneer. And Yao Tianshan was angered by Duan Lingtian unsurprisingly, and even had the urge to take out Yao Xingchen's trump card and kill the person in front of him. This guy speaking too hard, right? Dare to mock him? Boy, you are courting death. With a loud shout, Yao Tianshan started to move. The supreme divine sword in his hand swept, and the dazzling golden sword light shot straight into the sky, and then roared down towards Duan Lingtian as if with a world-breaking momentum. Hum! The sword fell, the void trembled, and the space swayed, as if it might be cracked at any time. Obviously, it has almost reached the limit of the strength that this land of return to the ruins can hold. This is also the reason why this place of return to the ruins prohibits the entry of the most powerful beings. At most, it can only accommodate the invincible upper gods. The golden rule of the great perfection is really powerful. In the face of Yao Tianshan's whistling sword, Duan Lingtian exclaimed in amazement, but his expression did not change, and then he swung the sword out in a hurry. It's just, your swordsmanship is too rubbish. Rubbish. In a word, Yao Tianshan almost vomited blood. The fourth order kendo, you call it garbage? You must know that even in the Yao clan behind him with all the swordsmen, he and his younger brother Yao Xingchen are the only ones in his generation who have cultivated swordsmanship to the 4th level. The rest of the people, as for a few people, have stepped into the 3rd level of kendo. However, he also knew that if the opponent really understood the 6th order kendo, then he was indeed qualified to judge his kendo in this way. Then watch carefully how my trash swordsman defeated you. Yao Tianchen shouted angrily, and the golden light on the sword in his hand became more and more dazzling, as if it turned into a scorching sun, illuminating the entire place of return to the ruins, dazzling. Even Yao Xingchen, who was in a faraway place, and others, also discovered it. Yao Xingchen frowned. It's Yao Tianchen. He shot. Have you met a postgraduate student? Shaking his head. He had no plans to join in the fun. He came in this time with a mission, and he also had his own ambitions. He hoped that he could find a way to step into the 5th rank of kendo in this place of return that was clearly left by strong kendo experts. Once his kendo steps into the 5th step, his attainments in the law of destruction can also go further. As early as many years ago, his law of destruction was tied to kendo. Now, as long as the kendo goes a step further and steps into the 5th step, he is sure to let the law of destruction step into the realm of great perfection, and since then he has become an invincible upper goddess. However, although Yao Xingchen did not go to join in the fun. However, the group of people from Bibo Tianfu, as well as the talented and powerful people who were invited by Bibo Tianfu, had not gone far, but at this time, they all joined in to watch the fun. It's Duan Lingtian. He fought with Yao Tianchen? Yao Tianchen is an invincible high-ranking god. He dares to provoke him? Is he courting death? These people had already been attracted before Yao Tianchen's sword glow fell. Chapter 45-23. No one thought that Duan Lingtian could be Yao Tianchen's opponent. Although Duan Lingtian's strength is very strong, even enough to compare to the strongest disciples under the invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu. However, that is only under the invincible superior god Venerable. This Yao Tianchen is the heir to the patriarch of the Yao clan in Jianshan, the 4th rank of kendo, and he has also comprehended the laws of the golden system to the realm of great perfection. He is a real evildoer. The invincible high god Venerable, known as the strongest under the Xianj. This paragraph of Ling Tian, although he is the type of powerhouse closest to the invincible high god Venerable, is only the closest with the real invincible high god Venerable. There is still a big difference. There is almost no suspense in this battle. I really don't know what this paragraph of Ling Tian thought, to provoke Yao Tianchen. Perhaps the two of them have hatred. Yao Tianchen wants to deal with him. If that's the case, I can only blame him for being unlucky. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Yao Tianchen slashed down from the sky with a sword, like a giant sword standing in the sky, falling across the space from the sky and sweeping towards Duan Lingtian. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian not only did not mean to avoid, but even took a step forward. Fight against me. I advise you that it's better not to use your trash kendo. The words fell, and the power of space law on Duan Lingtian's body was turbulent, merged with divine power, and injected it into the 7 apertures Linglong sword. And then, the swordsmanship that touched the 7th order threshold was also revealed. In an instant, the surrounding air vibrated, and after that, it seemed to be condensed into a series of translucent light and shadows, turned into sword shapes, and slowly spread and swept. Call out! The sword whistling sounded, but it was Duan Lingtian who brought out the sword. As soon as the sword came out, the thousands of translucent light and shadow condensed swords in the air also swept out, as if with an aura that could destroy the sky and destroy the earth. In full view, Yao Tianchen's gigantic golden lightsaber that roared down, followed by Duan Lingtian's 7-colored sword glow, which seemed to be weak, stopped in the void. Then, the golden giant sword was shrouded in the translucent sword shadows that roared along with the colorful sword lights, as if it was surrounded by locusts passing through. At last, a scene that shocked the audience and even Yao Tianchen, the party involved, appeared. I saw that the golden giant sword, after stopping for a moment, actually cracked open inch by inch under the translucent sword shadow like a locust, and then disappeared into the void. Call out! The colorful sword glow continued to move forward, killing Yao Tianchen. Yao Tianchen came back to his senses, quickly took a defensive posture, and all the divine power swept up, and the golden law of the great perfection was integrated into it. A large sword and shield appeared in front of him. I told you in front of me, don't play your trash kendo. Duan Lingtian spoke again with an indifferent tone. At the same time, the colorful lightsaber touched the sword and shield, and it shattered directly. If you don't use kendo your defense, I may not be able to break down in such a short period of time. As Duan Lingshan's voice fell, the colorful sword light continued to kill Yao Tianchen. And Yao Tianchen, at this time, finally sensed it. Seventh Order. You actually understood the Seventh Order swordsmanship. Yao Tianchen suddenly screamed, and his voice was full of astonishment and inconceivable. At the same time, he also used his defense again. This time he obeyed. Don't dare to use kendo again. Just relying on divine power and the golden rule of the Great Perfection Realm, Duan Lingshan's colorful sword glow was stopped, and after a while, the colorful sword glow was also wiped out. At the same time, Yao Tianchen's face was pale. In the process of defense, the consumption of him is not small. However, although he was slightly injured to a certain extent, the current Yao Tianchen obviously had no time to take this into account. He looked at Duan Lingtian again with a bit of fear in his eyes. Seventh Order Kendo? Fuck. Really fake? Really? The onlookers were shocked by the scene in front of them. Yao Tianchen, the invincible high-ranking god, was actually pressed and beaten by Duan Lingtian? Now, when they heard Yao Tianchen's words, they were all stunned. Seventh level kendos. Is there anyone in the world who can understand it? As far as I know, in all worlds, and even beyond the world, the strongest existence in kendo has only comprehended the Sixth Order Kendo, and they are all powerful existences among saints. If you comprehend the Seventh Order swordsmanship, if you comprehend the profound meaning of the law to the realm of great perfection, once you become the strongest, then you will be the top existence among the saints, right? It is estimated that they have surpassed the saints and stepped into another realm. The seventh level Zeon? Well known. Even a saint is only the sixth rank of the strongest. And the powerhouse above the seventh rank, according to rumors, the world, and even the contemporary world outside the world, does not exist. The place where they are now is said to have been left by the powerhouses above the seventh rank that appeared in ancient times. Seventh Order Kendo? Hearing Yao Tianchen's words and seeing Yao Tianchen's eyes again, Duan Lingtian smiled lightly. If I understand the Seventh Order Kendo, just the sword just now, even if you don't use kendo later, you can't stop it. When he touched the threshold of the Seventh Order Kendo, Duan Lingtian discovered. His kendo can already affect the surrounding air and all nearby forces, making them part of the kendo for him to drive. Yao Tianchen's kendo, which only has the fourth rank, was suppressed by his kendo and counter-terrorism in the process of his shot just now, which became his side's help. It is precisely because of this that Yao Tianchen's attack was so easily broken by him. If Yao Tianchen didn't use swordsmanship from the beginning, and if he fought against him with divine power and the laws of the golden element, at most he would be tied with Yao Tianchen, and it would be difficult to hurt Yao Tianchen. Unfortunately, Yao Tianchen didn't do that. Impossible. Hearing Duan Lingshan's denial, Yao Tianchen did not believe it. My Yao family has cultivated swords for generations, although no one in history has cultivated to the seventh level of kendoji. However, in the ancient books of my Yao family, there is still a record of the seventh level of kendo. Once the swordsmanship steps into the seventh step, all things within a certain distance around it can be transformed into swords. The swordsmanship below the seventh rank performed by the opponent can be seized and used for one's own use. Obviously, Yao Tianchen concluded that Duan Lingtian had mastered the seventh rank of kendo. You have comprehended the seventh order swordsmanship. Even if the space law you have comprehended is only the space law of the small perfection realm, you are already an invincible upper god venerable, and you are the strongest among the invincible upper god venerable. I'm not your opponent either. Although Yao Tianchen was unwilling to accept it, he had to accept it. The person in front of him, comprehending the seventh order kendo, made him feel weak for a while, and at the same time, deep in his heart, the judgment of the other party who recognized the kendo he mastered. Garbage kendo. Compared with the other party's kendo, the kendo he understood is indeed garbage kendo. Chapter 45-24. History partition. Seeing that Yao Tianchen had lost his fighting spirit, Duan Lingtian shook his head. I originally planned to tell the other party that I had only touched the threshold of the seventh rank of kendo, and had not yet stepped into the seventh rank of kendo. Now, I am afraid that the other party may not believe it. Maybe he thought that Duan Lingtian was looking for sandbags. Duan Lingtian flickered and swept in the direction Yao Xingchen left just now. Seeing this, Yao Tianchen's face suddenly sank. He had originally planned to track Yao Xingchen, but he could only dismiss the idea. He could almost predict, if Duanling Tian encounters him against Yao Xingchen, there is a high probability that the other party will help Yao Xingchen, because now Duanling Tian is also a disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, and Yao Xingchen is his own. If there is this Ling Tian, even if I use the whole card, it will be difficult to kill that Yao Xingchen. Forget it, count him lucky. After a year in the land of Return to Ruins, I still don't believe that he is lucky every time and appears near Duanling Tian. Thinking of this, Yao Tianchen was relieved again. Then, went in the other direction. And the group of talented geniuses from the Bibo Tianfu present at this time mostly looked at each other in dismay, and the depths of their eyes were full of fear. After knowing that Duanling Tian had mastered the 7th order swordsmanship, no one among them would speak bad words of Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian has mastered the 7th order swordsmanship, which also means that Duanling Tian has stepped into the realm of invincible upper gods, and he is still the strongest among invincible upper gods. Even Yao Tianchen, an invincible high-ranking god, is not his opponent. Certainly. They know it too. Not an opponent is not an opponent. Both are invincible superior gods, want to kill another superior god. Even if the strength is better than the other party, it is difficult to achieve. Unless you make multiple preparations and make the opponent hard to guard, then there is a chance to kill the opponent. It's only a trace. Duanling Tian moved forward all the way, and found that Yao Xingchen had long since disappeared, and he also realized for a while that he was too careless. Yao Xingchen did not stop to watch the liveliness between him and Yao Tianchen. After walking forward for a while, after confirming that Yao Xingchen could not be found, he stopped looking for himself and began to observe the surroundings, and his consciousness swept out. Officially began to spy on this place of return to the ruins. The place of return to the ruins is said to be an ancient artifact before the blockade of history, left by the supreme powers above the 7th rank. Since history blocked, this world has never been born with a superpower above the 7th order. If you want to step into the 7th rank of Xian, in addition to a certain law, you need to comprehend the realm of great perfection, and one of the 4 ways of heaven and earth must also comprehend the 7th rank. This is the threshold of the 7th order Xian. In recent years, it's not that no one has stepped into the 7th rank of the 4 paths of heaven and earth. However, these people have either perished without becoming a superpower, or the law has not stepped into the realm of great perfection. It's like the 7th order of the 4 worlds of heaven and earth is in conflict with the laws of the great perfection realm, and it is difficult to go hand in hand, even if it's me now. Since the last time Kendo stepped into the 7th step, Duanling Tian found that the way forward in Kendo has become extremely vast and clueless, and until now, there has been no progress. If you want to step in, it feels more difficult than going to the sky. In the past, the senior sword of time, it is said that he realized the swordsmanship to the 6th rank, and touched the threshold of the 7th rank. In addition, the law seems to be close to the great perfection. Furthermore, he is cultivating the Kendo of time, and the two go hand in hand. Once the Kendo enters the 7th level, the law will also step into the great perfection together with a high probability. But he died. Some people say that a sage shot him and didn't want him to go further, because, once he goes a step further, he may directly step into the 7th rank of Xian, surpassing all the sages at that time. Would like to see. Some people say that at the moment of his breakthrough, he encountered the exclusive heavenly robbery of the 7th rank of Xian, and because he did not succeed in transcending the calamity, he perished. Some people say that in the process of breaking through, he was attacked by laws and swordsmanship, and he died and disappeared. The 7th rank of the strongest is like a peculiar magic. After the historical partition, there has never been a 7th order Xian existence. The only traces left in this world of the 7th tier powerhouses are the land of return to the ruins that have been gradually discovered. However, after so many years, countless places of return to the ruins have been unearthed. Even when many people, including the strongest, have gone in to explore, they still haven't found why the 7th tier of the strong cannot be born before and after the historical partition. The clues of the strong. After a moment, Duanling Tian came back to his senses, and shook his head with a wry smile. I'm only now looking at the threshold of stepping into the invincible upper god venerable. It's too early to think about this. What I can do now is to continue to improve myself. The laws of space, since the last time Kong Lao spared no effort in pointing out, has been slightly improved, and it is no longer difficult to progress. Whether it's Kong Lao or that Hall Master Shao, the advice they gave me was to improve my own swordsmanship, and let my half-dimensional space swordsman evolve into a real space swordsman. The real space kendo is completely tied to the kendoke.
For example, my current kendo, if it can be perfectly integrated into the space law that I am good at, the current kendo realm will be enough to help my space law enter the great perfection realm. To put it bluntly, it is to completely turn the swordsmanship into one's own, without any other impurities.
But only Duan Tian knew. It's not that simple to make his kendo completely his own.
His kendo is mixed with too much kendo perception of his master, and he is used to it, and he has been subtly affected. He wants to integrate the laws of space into it and expel his master's kendo perception.
How easy is it to say?
Here is the place of return to the ruins left by the strong rank 7 and above who are good at kendoch.
His kendo must be above the 7th rank. Maybe I can find something here that is helpful to me right now, Duan Tian said secretly. Not just him.
Even for the other geniuses from Bibo Tianfu, including those from Bibo Tianfu, after entering the land of return to the ruins, the most important thing is to improve himself and help him.
As for those things that Bibo Tianfu wants, they put it behind.
As for those high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu, it is naturally impossible not to know this.
But they couldn't do it either.
Who let this place of return to the ruins? Only let the most powerful understand the swordsmanship to the existence of the 7th order and above.
They have no choice, nor can they interfere too much with the will of those who enter. Chapter 45-25.
Because of this place of return to the ruins, 2 groups of people have come in front.
Therefore, some valuable things that can be found in the front have been emptied.
Now, Duan Tian can only explore and go deeper. However, those who entered the first 2 batches also gave them a good head and shared a lot of useful experience, allowing Duan Tian to avoid several dangerous places one after another.
Go deeper.
In the process, he also got some things including the same thing that Bibo Tianfu wanted. After walking forward for a while, Duan Tian found that there were many people gathered in front of him, and then looked forward.
I saw a sudden shock in the void ahead.
After getting closer, he also heard the voices of those who came in with him around in front of him. What's the situation?
What a strong killing intent.
It feels as if something was born. There seems to be an aura of kendo in it.
Most of the people around were raw faces, and there was only one person.
Duan Tian had some impressions, and he was also a foreign aide from Bibo Tianfu. In addition to Yao Tianchen, another invincible superior god. Before he came in, the invincible superior god Venerable, Shao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, had also mentioned to him that he was an invincible superior venerable who had comprehended the swordsmanship to the 4th rank and mastered the earth-based laws of the great perfection.
His kendo is more defensive.
It is said that since he became the invincible superior god, no one under the strongest can make him hurt. Of course, his defense is strong, and his attack is weak among the invincible upper gods. But, even so, his attack is not comparable to the non-invincible superior god Venerable.
He seems to be called Zhengbin.
Just when Duan Tian was about to come forward to watch the fun,
suddenly, the surrounding world shook.
Then, a strong kendo aura came from the pavement. Duan Tian saw that above the area where the onlookers in front were, and above the sky, a hole suddenly opened. After the hole appeared, gray light was entangled, and there were also black lightning that was thick as an adult's arm.
It looked mighty.
A dangerous aura suddenly spread.
It seems something is not good.
Duan Tian had the intention of retreating, and the invincible superior god Venerable Zhengbin in front of him also retreated almost when Duan Tian retreated.
However, at this moment, boom, boom,
the ground shook for a while, as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Above the sky dome in the void in front of him, suddenly a huge sword light broke through the sky and fell. At the moment when the sword glow appeared, a powerful aura of destruction spread out towards the surroundings.
Not good.
Duan Tian was about to turn around and run away. But at this moment, he discovered that there seemed to be an irresistible invisible force that bound him in place, making him unable to move at all.
His body couldn't move at all. Only consciousness remains. The eyes can still see things too.
In the distance in front, the invincible superior god Venerable Zhengbin was obviously in the same situation as Duan Tian at this time.
Boom.
There was another loud noise, and after the huge sword light falling from the sky in front was fully revealed, a sharp and unparalleled force turned into a ray of light and swept in all directions. The closest group of people, in an instant, in Duan Lingshan's eyes, the moment they were enveloped in light, they turned into ashes. And then, that Zhang Bin also turned into ashes after a moment of radiance. Duan Lingtian saw that the light like the light of destruction was getting closer and closer, and his body was still unable to control. His heart was split, and his heart was desperate.
The light is getting closer. Soon, Duan Lingtian was drowned in it. It didn't take long. Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, who was outside the land of returning ruins, changed abruptly. And the other three powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu around him seemed to have noticed something at this time, and their faces changed greatly. Just now, half of the kendo genius who entered our Bibo Tianfu died? One of the strongest, with a look of astonishment on his face. He just received a message from Bibo Tianfu, saying that half of the disciples of Bibo Tianfu who entered the land of return to the ruins this time had their soul bead shattered. Xiao Tianxi and others obviously changed their color because they received the summons. What's the situation? Didn't two groups of people enter the land of the ruins before? Those two groups of people seem to have never experienced such rapid casualties. Hallmaster Xiao, what do you think? The three supreme powers looked at Xiao Tianxi in unison. Among the people present, Xiao Tianxi is the leader, because Xiao Tianxi is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu. His status in Bibo Tianfu is higher than them, and his strength is stronger than them. This group of people should have touched some taboo in the land of return to the ruins. Otherwise, it stands to reason that this situation is impossible. Xiao Tianxi guessed in a deep voice. Now, he can only make guesses based on the experience of returning to the ruins that he knew in the past. Plus, they can't do anything. Because, this place of return to the ruins, they can't enter. Even if they wanted to force it in, they couldn't. If violent means are used, this land of ruins may even self-destruct, and then turn it into a single blow to counterkill those who use violent means. There have even been saints killed in this way in the history of the Outer Lands. The powerhouses who left the land of return to the ruins are all superpowerhouses before the historical partition, at least the existence of the 7th Order Xion, and there may even be the existence of the 8th and 9th Order Xions. Duan Ling Tian. If it is said that other people perish, Xiao Tianxi does not feel much. However, when he thought of Duan Ling Tian, the genius he had just invited into his Golden Dragon Palace, he couldn't help but raise some expectations in his heart. I hope he is not among the people who perished. Duan Ling Tian is too enchanting. He can even foresee that as long as Duan Ling Tian is given enough time, even Duan Ling Tian will not be able to open the shackles of the 7th Order Xion, and he will definitely become a superpower in the world outside the world, and even in the world. The existence standing at the peak of the 6th Order Xion. Of course, the premise is that Duan Ling Tian can step into the realm of Xion. The stronger the talent, the better the foundation of the superior gods. After just breaking through to the superior gods and mastering the power of the laws of a small perfection, once they refuse the call of the superior state, they want to step into the realm on their own. Xion not easy. Even he was lucky enough to step into Xion back then. At that time, the power of the law was not even perfect, but only close, and the swordsmanship was only the 4th level. It was only after he stepped into Xion that he understood the laws of the great perfection. Duan Ling Tian, if you die, it will be a big loss to my Bibo Tianfu. Chapter 45-26. Out of Bounds. Wind Sanctuary. On a cantilevered cliff, a handsome young man in a green robe was surrounded by 6 people. Among the 6 people, there are young people, middle-aged people, and old people. Including the youth in Qingpao, they are all disciples of a nearby semi-holy force, Langyajunga. But looking at the current posture, they are obviously fighting in the same room. The wind is blowing. Among the 6, one of the old men looked at the young man in green robes surrounded by them with a grin. You are really amazing. Just the middle god. You have mastered the 4th Order swordsmanship. You can master the 4th Order swordsmanship with this level of cultivation. I am afraid you have a lot of adventures? Say it. How about sharing with us, senior brothers? After speaking, the old man's eyes were full of greed. The same goes for the other 5. The wind is blowing. A middle-aged man said with a sneer. Don't try to spread the news in vain. We have already set up an interference formation here, just to wait for you to enter the urn. Now, you are calling Tian not and Earth not working. You are only in the middle of the gods, and you are valued by the deputy pavilion. Feng Qingyang. You are really amazing. Now, how do you understand the secret of the 4th Order swordsmanship before you reach the upper gods? Follow us talk about it? Feng Qingyang. Those who know the current affairs are Junjie.
The young man in green robe is Duan Lingshan's master, and the wind is light. After he left the anti-god realm back then and came to a place outside the realm, he went all the way to the vicinity of the Langyajunga area. When he was beheading a big monster, the deputy pavilion master of Langya Sword Pavilion happened to pass by. Seeing his amazing swordsmanship, he sent an invitation to him to enter Langya Sword Pavilion. To know, at that time, he was just a lower god. And the deputy pavilion master of Langya Sword Pavilion is the existence of the 4th rank of Xian. The other party did not propose to accept Feng Qingyang as his disciple, because Feng Qingyang was showing the 4th order kendo at that time, and the deputy pavilion master of Langyajunga also had the 4th order kendo. He gets along with Feng Qingyang, more of an equal exchange. And he, without knowing that Feng Qingyang hid most of the kendo, in the process of communicating with Feng Qingyang, the kendo entered the realm very quickly. Because of this, he valued Feng Qingyang more and more. It also collected many treasures from heaven and earth to improve Feng Qingyang's cultivation. Therefore, in a short time, Feng Qingyang stepped into the middle god. Even now, it is not far from the realm of the upper gods. Feng Qingyang did not expect that someone would have the idea of playing his own kendo. Also, do you think his kendo came from some kind of chance encounter? Are these people out of their minds? Or did jealousy drive them completely crazy and irrational? Even if he got the kendo of today because of chance and adventure, can that process be able to be shared with others? Perhaps, they didn't intend to let me leave today, whether they gained anything or not. The wind whispered softly. Among these 6 people, there was one person who he felt was just a little familiar at first. Now, after thinking about it, he suddenly realized. Wasn't it the twin brother of the disciple of Langya Sword Pavilion who had conflicted with him and was bestowed to death by the deputy pavilion master in Langya Sword Pavilion? 6 upper gods, surround me with a middle god. What a big battle. Facing the siege of 6 people, Feng Qingyang's expression remained unchanged, and he smiled lightly, as if there was nothing in the world which could make his mood fluctuate. Feng Qingyang, sensible people, tell us why your swordsmanship is improving so fast. A young man asked in a cold voice. Feng Qingyang, if you don't want to die, you'd better cooperate. Another middle-aged man also said. Feng Qingyang still smiled. Everyone, even if you didn't plan to let me leave alive? If I leave, even if you have gained something today, do you plan to leave Langya Sword Pavilion forever? Are you not afraid that I will sue you on the side of the deputy pavilion master? Since I didn't intend to leave me alive, why should I cooperate with you? Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the expressions of the 6 people changed. Feng Qingyang, if you cooperate, we can let you die quickly. Otherwise, we will slowly torture you to death, and finally let you die. The old man gritted his teeth and threatened. Feng Qingyang was still smiling. Really? So, I'll wait and see. Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the 6 of them couldn't hold back any longer. They all shot and killed Xiang Feng Qingyang. Even if Feng Qingyang is only the middle god, they still don't dare to be careless, because when Feng Qingyang was in Langyajunga, he did not defeat the upper god. In the face of the 6 people's shots, Feng Qingyang sighed. Since you are looking for death, I will fulfill you. The voice fell, but Feng Qingyang didn't see any movement. The green robe on his body moved, and a fierce and unparalleled aura swept up from him. In an instant, the surrounding air, and even all the rocks on the cliff, turned into sharp swords, gathered into 10,000 swords, and gathered towards him. Go towards the siege of the 6. Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! The inexhaustible sound of sword chirping sounded, and the 6 people had just set off for a distance, far away from the wind, but their eyes were lost, and their bodies fell into the air. But their whole bodies were pierced by countless Dao-sharp swords, as if 10,000 swords pierced their hearts. Ka! Feng Qingyang moved and left. A rippling ripple swept across his feet. The next moment, the 6 corpses were covered, then gradually decayed, and finally turned into dust and ashes, scattered with the wind, as if they had never appeared. The law of time, it is not far from being completely integrated into my swordsmanship. Once integrated, my law of time can step into the realm of great perfection. The median is repaired, the 7th order swordsmanship, and the law of time re-enters the realm of great perfection. Apart from me, who else is there? With an indifferent smile, Feng Qingyang turned into a gust of wind and headed towards Langyajunga. He didn't know until he came to the outer lands. The time sword inheritance he got, the time sword, is so amazing. However, his current achievements compared to the time sword of the past, are not inferior. At best, his cultivation is not as good as the time sword at that time. The sword of time was already the strongest at that time. However, his swordsmanship has surpassed the original time sword. Of course, the law of time is even worse. When the sword of time of those years fell, the law of time was perfect, and Kendo erased the seventh order threshold. When Kendo was about to enter the seventh order, the punishment came. Time sword almost died under the punishment of heaven. At a critical moment, relying on the environment of the Azura Hell in the anti-god realm, and self-destructing the way of swordsmanship, he escaped the catastrophe, but he also ran out of fuel and lost his former glory. Don't be in a hurry to step into the realm of the upper gods. According to what the senior Sword of Time said, the four realms of heaven and earth, once they step into the seventh order and the realm of great perfection together with the law, they will usher in unprecedented punishment. Heavenly punishment is based on cultivation. The higher the cultivation, the stronger. After the historical separation, no one above the upper gods can make the four worlds step into the seventh order at the same time, and the law is perfect. Even before the historical partition, none of the most powerful people could do that, and there were very few high-ranking gods. Before the historical partition, most people completed the most critical step in front of the upper gods. Because of knowing this. Therefore, even if Feng Qingyang has recently been enough to step into the realm of high-ranking gods, he still suppresses his cultivation. Because he wants to imitate the predecessors before the historical partition, and face the punishment that is enough to lay the foundation of the seventh rank of the strongest. Senior Time Sword, it was only before his death that he realized this. It's a pity that the land outside the world, and even the contemporary world, doesn't seem to realize this. Otherwise, there will be no Xeon seventh order existence so far. The wind let out a sigh. At the same time, he had returned to Langya Sword Pavilion. In Langya Sword Pavilion, he was just a genius disciple who was gifted in swordsmanship, but had an ordinary talent in law. Because of good luck, he was valued by the deputy pavilion master. He too enjoys this identity. Before the punishment comes, it is good to be a little transparent and keep a low profile. Chapter 45-27. However, in this Langya Sword Pavilion, it is estimated that I won't be able to stay for too long. My law of time will soon be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship. When the law is complete, the punishment of heaven will surely be earth-shattering. It's better to find a place to transcend the calamity. Let's go back to the Azura Hell in the god-defying realm. There are many fierce places in the anti-god realm, including Azura Hell. There are many places that reveal mystery. It is suspected that they were left behind before the historical partition. When I pass the punishment, the law of time is perfect, the seventh rank of swordsmanship, and then step into the upper gods, I will explore those places. Feng Qingyang had already planned to leave Langya Sword Pavilion and return to the anti-god realm. I don't know. Xiaotian, how is it now? Thinking of his own disciple Duanling Tian, Feng Qingyang couldn't help sighing. His disciple, he has carried too many things in his life. Not like him, alone. After I have passed the punishment, I will enter the realm of high-ranking gods again. As long as I consolidate my cultivation, I will soon usher in the call of the supernatural realm. At that time, as long as I meet the call, I will be able to be promoted directly to super strong. At that time, I may also become a place outside the world, and even the contemporary world, the first existence of the Xueqi seventh order above the saints. What happened in the end, so that the cultivators after the historical partition have all gone down the wrong path? They stepped into the realm of the high-ranking gods early, they were dissatisfied with the laws, the four worlds were ordinary, and they welcomed the call of the super-powerful realm. If you reject the call of the Xeon realm, and wait until their laws in the four realms of heaven and earth are improved, they may not be able to find an opportunity to step into the Xeon realm. The wind let out a sigh. Xiaotian, there is a high probability that he has stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods now. It is a wrong path. However, with his good fortune, even if he takes the wrong path, he may not be as mediocre as those people. The separation of history is really terrifying. It not only separated two eras, but also caused the practitioners of this era to go down the wrong path. Perhaps, it is also because of the abundance of spiritual energy in this era, which enables them to step into the realm of high-ranking gods in various ways in a very short period of time. Before the historical partition, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth did not seem to be very abundant.
Many lower-ranking gods and middle-ranking gods have mastered the laws of the Great Perfection realm. There are gains and losses. There are losses and gains. This may be the reincarnation of heaven. The wind sighed softly. If I were to exist at the 7th rank of the Xian, I should be able to relieve the imprisonment of the souls of the Soul Clan members of the Xian clan for my daughter-in-law, Kier, and forget about Xiaoshen's worries. For him, it must be a big surprise. Now, he still doesn't know where he is in the Outer Lands. Is he fighting for it? With the cultivation level of the median god, to comprehend the law to the Great Perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level, it is indeed an incredible thing for contemporary people. How many people have stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods with a cultivation base, and the laws have not even comprehended the realm of small perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth may not even have comprehended the prototype. Did they not think to do it? Obviously not. But why do so few people do that? Because of the 1,000-year catastrophe. After the realm of the king, the 1,000-year tribulation will come. If your strength is not improved, the 1,000-year tribulation will be stronger every time. When you are in the middle of the gods, and face the 1,000-year calamity that may make you die, it is to continue to pursue the law of no hope, the 4 realms of heaven and earth, or choose to be promoted to the realm of the upper gods immediately. The answer is obvious. Choose the first way. If you fail, you will die. The second way is steady. And between the historical partitions, after the realm of the king, although there is also a catastrophe. However, the calamity they face is once every 10,000 years, not once in 1,000 years, just like the 10,000-year calamity faced by the supreme powers of this era. This has also led to the fact that cultivators before the historical partition could have enough time to comprehend the 4 realms of heaven and earth, as well as the profound meaning of laws. In contemporary times, there are only 2 ways to become the 8th tier Xian. The first way is to be like the wind, with extraordinary talent, and the way of Kendo against the sky. Before the upper gods, cultivate the way of Kendo to the 7th rank. Then, try to integrate the laws you are good at into Kendo, integrate with Kendo and go hand in hand. Of course, if you only rely on Feng Qingyang yourself and want to completely integrate the laws that you are good at into Kendo, there will be no progress until you first come. The reason why he entered the realm so quickly was because he obtained the inheritance left by the Sword of Time, which made him take a lot less detours on the road of integrating the law of time into Kendo. Otherwise, when the 1,000-year calamity that can threaten him arrives, he may not be able to approach the last step, let alone take the last step. Just as Feng Qingyang thought, as long as he is in the realm of the median and fully integrates the law of time into swordsmanship, the law of time can be promoted to the realm of great perfection in one fell swoop. At that time, there will also be divine punishment for those who gather the great perfection law and the 7th order heaven and earth as one. Because Feng Qingyang is only a middle-ranking god, the punishment he will face is a god-rank punishment. With his strength, there is almost no danger to pass through. And once it passes, he can be promoted to the realm of the upper gods. When you reach the upper gods, you can also sense the exchange of the supreme realm normally, and you can directly be promoted to the strong. Instead of rejecting the call of the strongest, like his disciple Duanling Tian, he continued to study the law, continued to study the swordsmanship, and went down the wrong path. Historical break. It can be said that it is not only history that has been broken, but also the 7th order road to the top of the cultivators in this world. Duanling Tian, of course, did not know. His master has already touched the threshold of the 8th rank of Xian. Now he is in the place of return to the ruins left by the Xian 7th order existence before the historical partition where Bibo Tianfu was looking for someone to enter, and is shrouded by the huge sword beam power that descended from the sky. The figures in front of him were all crushed, turned into powder, and died. When that power came to him, he thought that he would die too. However, what he didn't expect was that after that force enveloped his body, it did not continue to press down. At the same time, a surprised old voice resounded and echoed in his ears. Kendo has reached the threshold of the 7th order? You are also good at the laws of space? Ha ha! After waiting for so many years, it's finally here. Chapter 45-28. The voice coming from his ear made Duan Lingshan's heart tremble. In this place of return to the ruins, who can still have such terrifying strength, except for those who left this place of return to the ruins, who were the strong men above the 7th rank before the historical partition. Here there is no way for the strongest to come in. And if it is not the strongest, the strength is at most comparable to him. How can he imprison his body? And the sound comes, making his soul seem to tremble. It's not in vain that I tried my last effort to reopen the market. I didn't expect that the person I wanted to wait for finally came. The age is also in line with, and can even be said to be perfect. Hearing this, Duan Ling Tian looked confused, and a subconscious thought was, this old guy wouldn't want to take him away? It's not that he has never encountered the scene of taking a house, and even just a few days from the Earth's mundane plane and crossed to the sanctuary plane, he was almost taken away by the reincarnation martial emperor. It's just that at that time, because of the restrictions between the worldly planes, the other party couldn't help his soul. And now, this old man is obviously a super strong man before the historical partition. If he wants to take away himself, I am afraid that there are no rules that can restrict him, right? The way of heaven is not benevolent, and it treats all things as cud dogs. I have no space for the old man, but I don't believe in evil. If I don't believe it, I can't break your bullshit. I'm already powerless, but I can train a descendant. Back then, before heaven and earth were destroyed and returned to chaos, although I and them were enclosed in their own ruins, my choice was different from theirs. They choose to leave some of their own things behind before they die, so that there can be traces of them after the world reopens. As for me, I chose to seal my memories, leaving nothing behind, and even let all the valuable treasures, even power, be smashed and integrated into my return to the ruins, so that my return to the ruins could be opened 3 times in succession. Today, I finally met someone who meets my requirements. Tian Dao, I'm curious, will you be able to force me to a desperate situation in the future, and force my descendants to a desperate situation? My heirs will definitely be better than blue. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. When one after another, loud laughter echoed in Duan Lingshan's ears. Soon, he lost consciousness. When he woke up again, I found that I had appeared in a simple-looking stone house. Where is this? What happened? In the stone house, there are beds and tables. Spotless. Suddenly, Duan Lingshan's expression changed, and he covered his head with his hands. At this moment, he finally remembered what happened before he fell into a coma. That old age seemed to have a hysterical voice. Even at this time, there was a huge memory, like an endless ocean, pouring into Duan Lingshan's original memory that was like a river. In an instant, Duan Ling Tian only felt a splitting headache. This feeling lasted for a while before it stabilized. This is... Duan Lingshan's pupils glared round in the next instant. This is the strong man who called himself the old man without space before the historical partition, the strong man who left this place of return to the ruins, the strong man who has been scolding the way of heaven, the memory left behind? Old man Wukong, Xian 9th rank powerhouse. Kendo, 9th order. The way of control, the 8th order. The way of infinite, the 8th order. The laws of space, great perfection. The law of death, great perfection. The law of life, great perfection. After reading through the memory, Duan Ling Tian was very knowledgeable, but he couldn't help but take a deep breath. Is the strong man before the historical partition so perverted? Wrong. As the reading memory deepened, Duan Ling Tian also knew that even before the historical partition, not everyone was as powerful and defying as the Wukong old man. The old man Wukong was a super strong man before the historical partition, a top strong man. In that era, there were very few people who could compare with him. If it weren't for the thought of heaven, the world would be destroyed and return to chaos. When he cultivates both the way of control and the way of infinite to the 9th order, he may be expected to compete with the way of heaven. These are also learned from the memory of the empty old man. As Duan Ling Tian continued to read the memories of the Wukong old man in depth, he had to continue to sigh that this old man was powerful and terrifying. It's gotten to that point. The strength is so powerful that heavenly Tao trembles. In the 10,000 years of catastrophe that followed, he was so beaten that he would not dare to come again. The 10,000 years tribulation is also a means of heavenly Tao to maintain the order of heaven and earth. Non-heavenly Tao directly shot, so even the strongest 10,000 years tribulation is not as good as heavenly Tao's direct shot. However, the way of heaven seems to be limited and cannot directly deal with someone. It can only be restricted by setting rules. As for the more specific, the old man Wukong himself doesn't seem to know very well. However, when Duan Ling Tian read the Wukong old man's comprehension of swordsmanship and the comprehension of the laws of space, his eyes could not help but light up. His kendo is a kendo that perfectly integrates the laws of space. As long as I can fully digest and understand his understanding of space swordsmanship, my space laws will be able to step into the realm of great perfection in the shortest possible time. Space Kendo can also be further improved. This time, I really made a lot of money. Of course, Duanling Tian also learned from the memory of the empty old man. This place of return to the ruins of the Wukong old man has been opened 3 times, and the place of return to the ruins left by people before the general historical partition has been opened once and basically disappeared. Different from those people, the old man Wukong is determined to find a successor, inherit his memory, embark on a road that surpasses him, contend with the way of heaven, and even oppose the way of heaven. Do it for real. But, what's the matter? In the memory of the old man Wukong, in the era before the historical partition, the existence of the king above the gods, although they will also face the catastrophe, but it is the catastrophe of 10,000 years. Also, if you want to step into the 7th rank of Xion, you must basically understand the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th rank before stepping into the realm of the upper gods, and the laws are perfect. Because, when the great perfection of the law and the 7th order of the heavenly Tao appear on a person at the same time, they will usher in the heavenly punishment from the heavenly Taoge. The heavenly punishment will appear for the cultivation base. The kind of heavenly punishment for the cultivation of the strongest, even before the historical partition, no one can successfully pass through it. The kind of heavenly punishment of the cultivation base of the upper gods, only a few extremely talented evildoers can survive. Among them, this old man without space is included. He is the kind of heavenly punishment he passed when he was a high-ranking god, and he passed it easily. Most people, when they were in the realm of the middle gods, passed that kind of heavenly punishment and laid the foundation of the 7th rank of Xion, so that they could respond to the state of Xion soon after they became the upper gods. The call of Xion's 7th order. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.